We welcome you live to Michigan International Speedway, where after 2 days of steady rain, which forced postponement of this event on Sunday and Monday, we are finally ready to resume our race to the chase. Hopefully third time is a charm. The temperatures are much cooler. The conditions are quite a bit different than earlier in the week when they qualified and got in these cars to practice way back on Saturday. Hello, everyone. Along with the champions, Rusty Walsh and Andy Petrie, I'm Jerry Punch. Thank you so much for hanging with us here at Michigan. Now, guys, the conditions are quite a bit different. Andy, 2 days of steady rain, and a lot of the concerns that drivers and teams had when they came here have now been amplified.
The track is going to be green, it's going to be fast, and these engines are going to be, they were already worried about the engines coming into this big racetrack at Michigan, but now the track's going to be super fast. I wouldn't be surprised to see these cars running qualifying speeds early.
Rusty, 2 days of rain, no rubber on the racetrack. What does a driver expect?
Well, a driver does not really know what to expect, Jerry, whatsoever. Right now, since qualifying, this racetrack is 47 degrees cooler, and the outside air temperature 20 degrees cooler. So this is going to be a big surprise for all the drivers. They're looking forward to that first caution flag that's going to come at lap 25.
A lot of concern among the crews and drivers. As Rusty said, a lot cooler here. They haven't been in these cars since Saturday at noon. But they're getting ready to race right now as we go trackside for the command to fire them up.
And now, for those most famous words in racing, our Grand Marshal of the 3M Performance 400, Army Sergeant Michelle Hurth.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Well, the engines have fired finally, and we are getting set to race here at Michigan International Speedway. Some of these diehard NASCAR fans have hung in there with us, and I'll be here to watch what should be a good one here today. And speaking of watching it today, Andy, what should we be watching for here this afternoon?
Well, there's lots of things to watch for today, and the biggest thing is under the hood.
Well, typically, Andy, that's right. Last year alone, 3 engine failures in the middle of this race here at Michigan, and it shuffled up the points quite a bit. Jeff Burton was the unlucky recipient there. He was 4th in points in this race last year, slipped all the way back to 9th. There's a lot of guys on the outside looking in, including Dale Earnhardt, who has suffered from engine failure the last few races. So they're definitely going to be watching their points here, because if you have an engine failure in this race, that could mean missing the chase. Dave?
Jamie, you need to watch for speeding on pit road today. By now, most people understand that on pit road, there are scoring loops across pit road, transponders in the race cars, so that NASCAR can measure time over distance and get these cars speeding on pit road, or most of the time staying under the pit road speed limit. It's 55 miles per hour today. They give them a 5-mile-per-hour break. But the hard thing to understand sometimes is how 2 cars coming down pit road seemingly locked together, one gets a speeding penalty and the other does not. Well, that's typically because in one segment, the back car was catching up, and NASCAR measures the average speed for the cars across the segments on pit road. If this guy was catching up, and if they were both pushing the limit, his average speed is going to be higher, and if they are at 60.001 today, they'll get busted for speeding. Alan?
Dave, these races here at Michigan don't often see a lot of cautions, and historically, fuel mileage can come into play. It cannot be the fastest car that wins the race, but the car that gets an extra lap or 2 out of a tank of fuel. So the 2 most important men on pit road today may be the man who fills the car with gasoline and the guy that calculates the fuel mileage. We'll see if an economy run determines the winner this afternoon. Mike Massaro.
Alan, if this Tuesday matinee is not enough Michigan madness, we could be in store for some more craziness this afternoon. With just 4 regular season races remaining, the race for the chase has begun to intensify. And with the chase essentially being seeded based upon wins, the mindset of those jockeying for position is pretty clear. Recently, Denny Hamlin said, quote, "If you don't win, it doesn't matter where you finish." And with that mentality, it appears the stage is set for some more late race drama this afternoon. Guys?
Thank you, Mike. The stage is set for our race to the chase as well. After 22 of 36 events, and more importantly, with just 4 events to go in the chase, Jeff Gordon is in the chase. There's Denny Hamlin, Matt Kenseth. You see all the way back to 12th spot where Kurt Busch holds a 96-point bulge over his Penske teammate, Ryan Newman. They're trying to get in. You got to have 586 points when this day is done to be guaranteed. 3 more could jump in today. Hamlin, Kenseth, and Stewart with a good run at Michigan. Our NASCAR Nextel Cup action at Michigan is being brought to you by Sprint, featuring NASCAR Nextel Cup Series updates at Sprint Speed, and by McDonald's, and by Pennzoil. Not just oil, Pennzoil. This telecast is available on ESPN2 HD, presented by DirecTV. Cars are rolling. Let's take a look at our starting grid. Jeff Gordon, 6th pole of the year, 62nd of his career. He will lead them down. He's a 2-time winner here alongside Greg Biffle. And as you watch where your favorite driver starting across the top of the screen, we'll note to you that Jeff Burton and Martin Truex will start at the back of the field because of an engine change. So will Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jamie McMurray, who had transmission difficulties. Those 4 cars will go to the rear when we get the green flag momentarily. 8 onboard cameras. Robbie Gordon starts 30th, the Jim Beam Ford. Dale Earnhardt Jr. 39th. The Wrangler Budweiser Chevrolet. Greg Biffle, our in-race reporter, will start 2nd, the 3M Ford. J.J. Yaley, 31st starting spot, the Interstate Battery Chevrolet. Jeff Burton, the AT&T Chevy, starts in 19th position. Michael Waltrip, best starting spot of the year for Michael, 11th. He qualified in the Napa Toyota. Jeff Green starts 40th in the Best Buy Chevrolet, and Mark Martin, a 4-time winner here, starts 10th in the Sprint Army Chevy. Cars rolling for the first time. This is the first time these guys have sat in the race car since Saturday about noon.
They're probably really concerned what's going to go on, Jerry. They're thinking about their car. You know, a lot of moisture has been in the ignition systems and inside the car. I've had a problem with that before, where you start the engine up and you get on the racetrack and all of a sudden the engine starts missing and it'll clear itself up. Andy, you got to believe that some of that might happen today.
It's possible, but these cars are pretty durable now. They've kind of experienced some of this before, but it is a possibility that some of these electronic gremlins can get in there with all this moisture. One of the things I'm looking at here, though, is the fog and actually the visibility for the spotters to be able to see these guys. It's about as minimum as we could probably race in.
The one thing NASCAR just said, generally, Jerry, you got to put 2 tires below the yellow line when you're exiting pit road. There's a lot of moisture down there right now. They've allowed all the teams to take the whole car up on top of the racetrack. So, folks, that means when they leave pit road, there's a yellow line down there. They'll be able to put the whole car above that. Now, obviously, they're going to have to be cautious because there's going to be oncoming cars.
We are going to start momentarily with a green and yellow flag combined to keep the speeds down here early on. And by the way, there will be a competition yellow at lap 25 to check the tires because of no rubber on the racetrack. Well, have you ever wondered how the air really works on a high-speed oval like Michigan? Well, let's show you with our ESPN Draft Tracks.
The first thing to understand is that the clean blue air the lead car is running through may create more downforce, but it's more dense and harder to run through.
And the yellow air, that's made up of turbulent, broken air pockets, we call it. A lot of air pockets that help break the air apart, makes the car go through it a lot easier.
But as the cars enter the turn, they need to separate to get that clean air back on the nose of the car, helping the front tires grip and helping Kurt Busch make the pass right here on Michael Waltrip.
Now, believe it or not, when you're the lead car, that air can actually work against you.
As we see the trailing car Jeff Gordon pull up on Carl Edwards, he's packing that air right up under the rear of the car, causing the lead car to wiggle. We call that loose.
Now, the trailing car can also have negative effects from the car that it's following, the one breaking the clean air.
As we see Dale Earnhardt Jr. pulling up on Kyle Busch, that air is passing over the nose of the car, not pushing down maximum downforce on the front, causing Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car to lose grip in the front tires slipping.
And Andy, we call that tight. And when that happens, the only thing you can do is just back out of the throttle.
So while the air can help you, it can hurt you, even if you're front or in behind in a 2-car draft.
You're going to see a lot of aerodynamic issues today. Guys can make each other really loose when they pull up behind them, like we showed on our animation. And Andy, with this track being so fast and so wide, you know you could move this car all over. So as a crew chief, when your driver would call and say, I'm loose and I'm tight, you know, you had to get pretty specific. Is that true?
That's exactly right. And this is probably one of the most aero-dependent races or racetracks on the circuit because it's so big and so fast.
Field coming down. Now, we told you a moment ago they are going to wave the green, but also the yellow. Green flag and yellow, so they will stay side by side. And as a driver, Rusty, I think you've got to applaud some of this a little bit because of the fact that what they're trying to do is help get the track completely dry without moisture.
Well, Jerry, that's exactly right. There's some moisture spots on the racetrack, but not many. They could probably go green right now, and I expect this is going to happen real shortly, but they've got to get this stuff warmed up, and NASCAR's just giving a little extra time to get the job done.
Well, while they are green-yellow and they're still running about 65 miles an hour, we've gotten permission from the driver to speak with our in-race reporter. So let's talk to Greg Biffle, driver of the 3M Ford, who starts on the outside of row 1 in second spot.
Greg Biffle, Rusty Wallace, ESPN. You got me?
Got you, Rusty.
Hey, Greg, you've won here in 2004 and 2005, but, buddy, since then you've had some bad luck. But here today, you've qualified second. You feel like maybe you're back on track?
Yeah, I really do, Rusty. This 3M Ford Fusion car that these guys built, a really, really good race car. A little nervous about the beginning of this race. You know, we know it's going to be real fast. So my car's a little bit free probably for the kind of speeds we're going to be running the first half of this race. But, gosh, I hope I got something for him at the end. That's when we want to win this thing. I'd love to get back in victory lane, and I got a good race car right here.
Greg, what's your mindset on the opening laps of this race? Now, you got a caution flag coming at lap 25. What are you thinking about?
Well, I'm going to just ease it down into turn 1, you know, and get back to the gas early as I can. If I can get a run on Jeff and lead a lap, I'd like to do that in case, you know, you never know. I might not be there the rest of the day. But certainly the bottom is going to be fast right now because of the green racetrack. So I may not be able to keep up on the outside here on that first lap. But just get in line, you know, second, third, fourth, wherever I need to. Just ride for a little bit. Get that caution flag and work on this thing. Do whatever I got to do to get the adjustment, the balance right, and then go from there.
All right, man, thanks for talking to us. We'll check in with you later on in the race.
Thank you.
Let's talk to his crew chief who will be making all his critical calls today on the pit box, Greg Irwin.
Hey, Greg, Andy Petrie. Greg Irwin, Andy Petrie, up in the ESPN booth. Got a copy?
Loud and clear, Andy.
Hey, Greg, NASCAR's saying the racetrack's really ready to go racing except for maybe this fog. Have you and your spotter talked about that and the visibility there?
Yeah, I did just a few minutes ago, actually. I asked him. He said it's not too bad. He can see, hoping that picking the car speed up here, maybe getting just a little bit of heat into the racetrack will help some of that fog lift out.
Yeah, it looks like I can see the cars just a little bit better now than when we started. What kind of changes do you anticipate having to make to your car now with this track being so much different than it was Saturday?
I think we're like Greg was just saying there. I'm pretty sure he's just going to take it easy here a little bit, kind of settle in, get a good read on our tire temps and build-ups and everything on that first competition yellow. Make whatever adjustments we can. Maybe we got to get back to where we were happy hour on Saturday. We adjusted on it just a little bit here on tire pressure to get going here. Maybe we need to take a step back. Tough to say.
10-4, you got a great starting spot, so good luck today.
Thanks a lot, Andy.
Jack Roush on top of the pit box. They began this green-yellow at 65 miles an hour. They have now gone to 90 miles an hour and now to 100 miles an hour. You heard Greg Irwin talking about picking up the pace a little bit to try to get a little heat in the racetrack, but this green-yellow, again, is for the fog to try to improve the visibility for the spotters. Let's check in on pit road with Alan Bestwick.
Well, Doc, like a football team that has its weekly practice routine leading up to the Saturday walkthrough before the Sunday game, or a baseball pitcher that has his bullpen workout the day before his start, NASCAR pit crews have their routine leading up to race day. Most of them practiced last on Saturday and have been sitting in hotels or here at the racetrack in Michigan for the last 2 days. So on each one of the toolboxes up and down pit road, there's this practice hub. 5 lugs, 5 studs, and the tire changers all up and down pit road have been getting their reps in just before the start of the race, taking these lugs off, putting them back on, getting their rhythm back before they have to make the first pit stop under fire sometime in the first 30 laps of this race. Dave?
And Alan, we heard about the fog on the backstretch that the spotters are having to deal with. The spotters have been in communications with their drivers. Casey Kane spotter radioed to him. There's low visibility on the backstretch. Had nothing to do with Casey being able to see the track. Heck, these guys could race in a snowstorm. But as far as the spotters looking back there, being able to help their drivers navigate the heavy traffic at 200 miles an hour, they have to see. So all up and down pit road, they're saying it's not ready yet. I can't quite see you going into turn 3. Doc?
Dave, exactly. It is all about safety for NASCAR, safety for their drivers and for their fans. And that's why we are under a green-yellow here early on behind the pace car. Speed now over 100 miles per hour. Hopefully we're moments away from green only at Michigan.
For over a century, this state shaped like a hand has gripped itself into a fist. Pounding out Detroit steel, muscle cars built on a chassis of power and pride. The only motive here? Automotive. And one of the biggest, baddest, fastest racetracks stands to test the will of those staring down the final spot in the chase for the cup. This is no time to drop behind. There is no time to waste. For Junior, Bad Brakes have his championship season officially on the brink. History says Michigan could be where his luck turns. But Kurt Busch looks to lock Junior in his rearview mirror, keeping a stronghold on that sacred 12th spot. When you're racing through the Irish hills of southern Michigan 3 and 4 wide, keep her steady, get in line, and let her roll. Assembly lines of history to the pounding track of Michigan International Speedway, this pressure-filled chase for the cup is hammered home today. Let's roll.
Just up from the city they call the Motor City, where all the great muscle cars over the years were built. We're getting ready to muscle our way on a high bank 2-mile oval. NASCAR Nextel Cup style for 400 miles. Great to have you with us here as the cars are under a green-yellow and the speed continuing to escalate to whip some of this fog away from the racetrack to improve visibility for the spotters. Well, the hot team early in the year was Hendrick Motorsports, and these two guys, Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, though have been without their crew chiefs for the last 6 weeks. Here's a look at their record. Both have had pretty good finishes, but neither one have won a race. But today, it is Welcome Back Crew Chief Day. Steve Letard back on top of the pit box for Jeff Gordon. He helped lead Gordon to 4 wins, his last win coming at Pocono back in June. And welcome back Canals. Wasn't that a sitcom? That was Welcome Back Cotter. Here's Chad Canals coming back for Jimmy Johnson. He led Jimmy to 4 wins, his last win coming at Richmond back in May. So these guys back atop the pit box here at Michigan for the first time in 6 weeks. Big news this week. How long has it been since the Washington Redskins have had the #1 choice in the draft? Well, this week, Kyle Busch became a member of Joe Gibbs Racing, and Joe Gibbs was singing the praises up at Redskins camp up in Washington. This driver here, number 5, becomes a member of the Joe Gibbs team for 2008, joining Denny Hamlin and Tony Stewart. Other news breaking this week involves Dale Earnhardt Jr. Well, what a last 7 days it's been. He lost his engine last week at Watkins Glen, and this week he lost his number. It was revealed that he would not be able to have the number 8 for 2008 when he goes to Rick Hendrick Racing, and they had yet to decide on what number they will have. And by the way, he lost his starting spot today. He's got to go to the rear of the field because of a transmission change, and he will start shotgun 43rd.
Well, there's nothing good going on with the 8 car at Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now. He's had that transmission problem in practice, and when you got to change transmissions, guys, you got to go to the back of the field. So he'll be back there, but he told everybody he's got a really strong engine. He feels like he can get to the front of the field, but it's going to be a tough job here at Michigan because generally on these rain delay days, when you race on a Monday, let alone on a Tuesday, Andy, for some reason, they tend to run caution-free.
Well, they're probably hoping, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s team's probably hoping they're not going to run caution-free because they're going to need some help to get back up there. This team's been facing a lot of adversity here lately, and all of the distractions and under just tremendous pressure now to try to get into that top 12. They're facing some long odds.
Jerry, a lot of the times when you got rained out, we had to run some rain delays on a Monday. As a driver, I always thought, hey, we're here. We're not supposed to be here. Let's just get this race done. And generally on a Sunday, you're all amped up and you're fired up and you want to go out there, really get these guys by the throat and win these races and get all the points you can. But on these rain delays, it's a totally different mindset. They want to get home. They're trying to be cautious. I believe that's what's going to happen early in this race. Then later on, they're going to have to go for these points.
You can see the fog now over the racetrack, and NASCAR is talking to the teams, talking to the spotters, and it's all about safety here. The drivers can see just fine. The problem is that the spotters high atop us on top of the main grandstands here and NASCAR, who control this race up here just a few feet from us in the control tower, want to make sure they can see, and their spotters around the racetrack who watch for debris, etc. on the track can see as well. So what they're going to do right now is bring the cars down pit road just for a couple of minutes and let some of this fog lift. They are not going to allow the crews over the wall. That's why these NASCAR officials are walking up pit road to seal off the area between the crews and the cars so they can't get over to the cars.
I see why you can't get away with anything in NASCAR anymore. Look at all these guys, man. When I was a crew chief, we didn't have near this many officials. You can kind of just look around and see, make sure it wasn't coming, and you could work on your car a little bit. But boy, they're standing everywhere.
Are you saying that you did that?
No, not me.
No, you would.
I was
never
talking about the other guys.
Oh, I got you. Speaking of other guys, let's Jamie have a visit with a guy that we've missed for a few weeks, Chad Canals.
We sure have. 6 weeks has been a long time, and nobody knows it better than Chad Canals. So Chad, we're finally out there. It's green, yellow, and now they bring him back in here. What's your mindset now? You've been out, you've been waiting to come back to the track, and here you are in an extended stay.
It's like making the penalty even longer for sure. But you know, I'm really excited. I'm ready to go racing for sure. The guys have done a great job preparing the race car. We had a good qualifying effort. I hated that we're sitting here like this. Jimmy said the track's fine. It's just unfortunate the spotters and the NASCAR tower can't see the back straightaway, so they don't feel it's safe to put the cars out there in those conditions. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit.
So as we sit here and wait, you know, the drivers, some of them I heard talking about the debris. There's a lot of rocks that have been washed up, and because the jet dryers have been out there, is that going to be a factor once we do get this thing under green?
I think you'll see some tires maybe with some small cuts in it, but I don't think there's anything out there that's really going to damage a tire and put anybody in harm's way, especially with the competition yellow coming out at lap 25. I think everything's going to be fine.
So you're sitting here going, gosh, could I have waited one more week here?
Oh, I mean, it is 100 degrees in Charlotte, so I would definitely rather be there, maybe out on the boat or something. But no, it's okay. Being at the racetrack's where I like to be, so it's fine. Rain, sun, dry, doesn't matter.
All right, Alan. Well, it's good to see Chad Canals back as soon as we get this race going. He can get back to work.
And we're with his Hendrick Motorsports counterpart, Steve Letarte. First, Steve, what's Jeff saying about track conditions and so on?
Yeah, it's a real funny situation. Jeff said NASCAR's done a wonderful job. The track, pit road, the aprons, everything looked phenomenal, ready to race. But it's weird, you know, our visibility here looks great, but from the tower, it's just not safe. I don't think NASCAR can see the track nor the spotters. And you know, that's where NASCAR usually, they have the calmer head at everybody. I think their drivers want to get racing, but we forget they're 200+ miles an hour back there on the backstretch, so we need to be as safe as possible about it.
Had your crew sitting here on hold, on go for 2 days. Your pit crew hasn't practiced since Saturday. How do you keep these guys ready to go when we do see the green?
Well, you know, I think that's the beauty, especially a place like Michigan. It's a long race. Just ease into it. Try not to win it on the first stop. Just nice, consistent pit stops. I can't say enough about this whole crew. You know, I feel really bad about not being here the last 6 weeks, but they've done a phenomenal job. The pit crew, everyone, the driver. I mean, we've gained points. They've set a pretty high bar. I'm a little nervous to be back.
We'll see how the day goes.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks, Steve. That's Steve Letarte, and we go to Mike.
And Alan, the frustration continues to mount after waiting 40+ hours for this green flag. The wait continues, Tony Eury Jr. What's this like for you guys?
It's just boring. I mean, you know, we track good. The drivers say it's good out there, but I guess spotters can't see. So these guys got mirrors in their cars, so we should be racing. But, you know, it's just unfortunate. I mean, we've been here this long, and we got to go to Bristol. Everybody's just aggravated and ready to get out of here and get to the next race.
And you have to start 39th. What's the strategy to get to the front today?
So far, just riding line. You know, we're trying to get going here so we can make up some ground. I think we got a good car and we can make it happen. It's just they got to throw the green in for real.
Well, Dave, a lot of anxiousness. Everybody wanting to go green.
And everybody pretty much ready to go green, including Todd Berrier's driver. Kevin said he could see the track. Let's go, huh?
Yeah, he was actually counting how many fingers Billy was holding up from the back straightaway, so he don't quite understand it. They can't see the track, but all the drivers can see fine, so it's just adding insult to injury, I think.
Well, let's see, here's a question now. If Billy O'Day up in the spotter stand was holding up fingers and Kevin was down here guessing, did he get it right?
He says he wasn't guessing. He said he could see it fine, so but he did miss it by one, so I don't know. Maybe he needs some glasses or something.
What was the actual count? 4 fingers, 2 fingers?
It was one, but Kevin said 2.
Okay, we're within one finger. Doc, let's get this thing started.
Okay. It's all about visibility here for the folks in the tower, being able to make sure that they can see. And as you can see, the fog is lifting here. It's a normal occurrence here in the morning at Michigan, the dampness, the humidity, and it does lift. And so hopefully within minutes we'll be able to get these cars rocking and rolling back on the racetrack here at Michigan for 400 miles. You can tell the crews are pensive as they relax, getting set to start here when we come back in a moment. We welcome you back to Michigan International Speedway, where we currently have the cars parked on pit road to allow the fog to clear here. Just a little bit of fog in the area. It is lifting as we speak, and we hope to have the cars back on the track here momentarily. Speaking of on the racetrack, on Saturday we had one heck of a NASCAR Busch Series race. As you look at our Crown Royal crowning moment, the 20 car of Denny Hamlin comes across to pick up his second win of 2007, his fourth career win, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing, and celebrates in style in victory lane as the winner of the Carfax 250. NASCAR is all about safety, and although the drivers can see right now here, and like for example the 5 crew here, they have a spotter in the backstretch, and he's trying to be able to see the cars, and the big concern here right now is visibility. NASCAR's #1 priority is safety, and it's not that the drivers can't see, it's the spotters that are trying to be able to give the drivers clues around the racetrack that are having trouble with visibility. And to help explain that, it's a pleasure to be joined by the president of NASCAR, Mike Helton. And Mike, explain a little bit about you guys' decision to sort of put the cars on pit road here for a few minutes.
Yeah, what we did, and I know everybody's anxious to get this race in, and a lot of fans have stuck out with us here in Michigan, and we're very thankful for that. And but what we did, knowing that the visibility was iffy, but trying to confirm exactly what we had, what kind of deck we had dealt to us, we put the entire field out there, picked up the speed a little bit, and then kind of took a survey around the facility, the spotter stand, the different spotters and around the racetrack, and ultimately decided that we needed to wait just a little bit longer just to be absolutely sure that we could do what we need to do as correctly as possible and be fair to everybody. The drivers can see pretty good. The pace car says the track's all ready, but we're lacking just a tick of visibility to give us full confidence that this would be as safe as we can make it. So we expect from local reports, they're telling us that the ceiling will lift. It's just a matter of time, and we've been here a long time, but just a few more minutes we think we'll be okay.
Mike, all around the area, Jackson, Ypsilanti, areas like that, they reported the fog is lifting already, and seems like we're just in this little hole right here in Jackson. Are you getting the reports that this is the next one to get some visibility?
Yeah, we're trying to get some very specific information, and Rusty, you're a pilot, so you understand that their information is pretty good for us today. That type of information is what we need, the ceiling level visibilities and those types of things. So we're trying to get very local information around the racetrack coordinates right now, just to be able to predict. But the good news is the radar's nice and clear for us. It is a very low ceiling on top of the racetrack right now. When this is 5 miles from here, it may be great, but we need it to be a little bit better right here, right now. So we've got our fingers crossed. We're optimistic that we will get the race in today, but we just need a few more minutes to be sure about it.
And Mike, we talked about the fact that when we do roll the cars off here, you guys are NASCAR is going to allow a competition yellow at lap 25, and that really, I think the teams applaud the fact that you guys understand that they haven't been on the racetrack for 3 days.
Yeah, that plus the fact that the conditions on the racetrack have changed so drastically. You've had with all the laps that they had and the race from Saturday, the race teams had a pretty good concept of what the track was going to be like, but all the rain, all the drying, all the brushing, all the cleaning off that we've had to do on the racetrack offers up a different standard for them to go by. So we'll let them come in after 25 laps and take a look at tires and get a comfort level back up to where they go at it.
Well, the good news is that we have fans that stuck with us. These diehard NASCAR fans have come back to watch the race today, and we got a phone call this morning from Bristol, Tennessee. They told us there are already campers in the parking lot in the meadows around Bristol. Those folks are sitting there watching the race at Michigan. They can't wait for all these guys to get down to Bristol this weekend.
Well, Mike, one thing for sure, I don't know if you know this or not, but you did break a record. It's the first time in the 60-year history of NASCAR that I think we've had a rain delay pushed to a Tuesday. Now, I know we raced on a Tuesday one time, But a rain delay going to Tuesday, that's something.
Yeah, that's one of those records you really don't want to set. But hopefully this will be the last time in a long time. If it's a 60 more year stretch, that's okay with us. But thank goodness for race fans and their patience and their passion and everything, and those that hung out with us in Michigan, those that may be cheating their bosses a little bit by watching on TV today. Thank you for hanging in there with us, and it'll be a short week, and we'll be in Bristol before we know it. But it looks like we're going to be okay today, and just everybody keep our fingers crossed.
Hey, Mike, thanks for coming over and explaining that to us, and thanks for joining us. We hope we have a great race here in Michigan today.
All right, guys, thank you.
The president of NASCAR, Mike Helton. How many other major league sports does the guy come over here and explain it to you? And when you can get the top man come over and explain what's happening here in the sport of NASCAR stock car racing?
Okay, we're sitting up here looking at this racetrack and trying to figure out just exactly what these spotters can and can't see. Let's check in with one of the spotters on the roof here with our in-race reporter team. Hey, Joel, Andy Petrie in here in the booth, probably right underneath of you. How's the visibility from your point of view up there?
It's pretty good, Andy. It's been about the same the whole time. We can see down in front, of course, and into 1 and 2, and down the back pretty good. Turn 3, probably the worst spot, but I think we've been ready to go since they started, but we're row 1. You know, if we were about 15th row, we'd probably be a little more skeptical, but they probably need a little time here. Looks like the sun's starting to burn in a little bit from the top, so I think we'll be underway here shortly.
Yeah, we had Mike Helton down here. We were talking to him, and he was talking about taking a poll from everybody what they could see. But I bet you if he took a poll, they'd say, let's just roll the dice here and get this thing going. What do you think?
Well, I know we're ready to go, and we talked to Jamie. He's in the back row, and I think the drivers can see a whole lot more, you know, than we can. But I know we're ready to go from row 1. It might be a little shaky for those guys about row 20 there, and, you know, be a little tougher on them if a wreck happened. But we're certainly getting a little better the further along we get here. We'll be fine. We're going to get her in today.
Yeah, thanks, Joel, for talking to us. It does look like it's getting just a little bit lighter from here.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Andy.
Joel Edmonds, a spotter for Greg Biffle, who is our in-race reporter. And yesterday, many of the crews were out on pit road playing a little football. Had a little pigskin pickup, and obviously this is football country. A couple of teams visited some football teams this week. Right now, they're waiting and hoping that we get underway here momentarily at Michigan. Welcome back to the 3M Performance 400 at Michigan International Speedway. The drivers were allowed to climb out of their cars but have to stay very close. Martin Truex Jr. and teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr. Juan Pablo Montoya hoping to improve on that 43rd place finish and the big disappointment he had here at Michigan back in June. Bobby Labonte, a 3-time winner here. He was the last driver to sweep both races at Michigan back in 1995. Drivers climbing out of their cars, and they are been told to stay very, very close because this fog is lifting, and they will be able to get back in momentarily and get underway.
Well, Doc, there's a lot of frustration up and down pit road, but some crew members have found a way to really use their time very good, and that's the 8 team right now. Eric Wakeland, Brian Chase, DJ Kopp, and a member of the 19 team as well, Terry Spalding, have come up here to the suite where there are some Make-A-Wish children who are enjoying the race here as well. This is Tristan, this is Cody, and hey guys, what do you think of these team members coming up here to watch a little bit of the race with you?
It's sweet.
Yeah, I bet it is sweet. How about you, Cody? This is pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot more better than last year because I really didn't like it at turn 3 last year. So I think it's a lot more funner right here.
Yeah, but the fog is a bit of a downer, wouldn't you say, Tristan?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody agrees. Hey, guys, who came up with this idea, DJ?
Oh, I don't know. Just looking for a place to stay dry, and we came up here and met these great guys and had a fun. They helped waste the time or spend the time that we've had to do nothing and have a good time hanging with them.
And guys, you know, there has been some boredom, but this is a really good way to spend some time here this afternoon, making some kids feel good. But, you know, there's a lot of frustration down on pit road, and we're going to go to Jamie, who I'm sure has somebody who's real eager to get behind the wheel and get this thing fired up.
Well, of course, I am actually with 2 drivers, Martin Truex Jr. and Dale Earnhardt Jr. You guys, we're talking about what you're seeing out there from your perspective. Greg Biffle's on the front row. He said everything's fine. How's it looking from way back here?
It's real foggy back there. It's a lot of bumpers we're looking at. We were just talking about master cylinders and match races.
So not a whole lot about the fog and the weather and being held over. Junior, so I know you're talking to Tony Uri Jr., and he said, I think, asked, what's the deal? Why are we stopping? What did he say?
That the spotters on top of the spotter stand and probably the guys in the tower can't see turn 3 and 4 real good. And if they can't call, the race, I guess they think it's unsafe. So it's probably why we're sitting here. But as far as if it was up to the drivers, we'd be racing right now because we can all handle it on our own, So it's unfortunate. It's been a long week. It's getting longer.
And you didn't get to go home, so you stayed in your motor coach. And how many video games? Are you video gamed out by now?
Yeah, absolutely. It's 60 hours being in that motorhome. And, getting pretty frustrated. Everybody knew it was going to rain Monday. We could have flew home and came back this morning and ran. Everybody could have got something done yesterday at the house, but they held us here, and that's what we had to do.
And time is of the essence, of course, for you guys. Got to get on the planes, and now they have to go straight to Bristol after here. So no downtime. A lot of hanging out in the motor coaches. Alan?
With Jeff Gordon, who started on pole and has led every lap of the race so far. How's your race going there, champ?
Car's perfect, man. I tell you what, it is hooked up. It's the fastest 4,000 RPM, 4,500 RPM car out there. But it's a pretty unique situation here. I mean, from the driver's standpoint, we're ready to go. Track's good. But, the way we race, we got to have spotters. And so I understand the situation. I wish it was different. Hopefully this fog will get out of here.
It doesn't make it any less frustrating for you, though, as you're trying to keep with your already busy schedule and get on to the next race. Talk to me about what you're expecting from conditions when you do go full speed racing. It's been a couple days since you've been on the racetrack, and the weather's a lot different than it was then.
Well, it's going to have a lot of grip and be fast, I think, and that's really not probably the best conditions for our DuPont Chevrolet, but I think that for us it's about getting the rubber laid down the track, and I think what you're going to see is the rubber's going to get laid down quick in the middle, and then guys are going to start finding grip low and high, and until we push it all the way out to the wall and all the way down the yellow line, that's when the race is going to begin. Just hope that we have enough laps, today with the weather the way it is, that we can really see this race, turn into the race that we're used to seeing and all the multiple grooves. But it should be exciting, fun. I mean, I'm ready to go. We've had an awesome race car all weekend long. Saturday practice went real well, so I'm really anxious to see. I can tell you, I wasn't awake when I got in the car at first, so I'm starting to wake up now. So now I'm really ready.
That was where I was going next. Is the conversation you were having just before we went on the air about what time of day it is. This isn't exactly your optimum race time. Is that what you were saying?
Well, I'm more of a night owl, so I like the night races like we got coming up next week at Bristol. That's when I'm really ready to go. Those early morning Saturday practices and early Sunday morning races, or whatever this Tuesday morning race is, those don't work for me.
Your sleep pattern is a little bit interrupted these days anyway, isn't it?
That's for sure. I should be used to getting up at 3 a.m. and 6 a.m., but I'm just not getting sleep, so working with it.
All right, Jeff, thanks for the time. Good luck in the race.
All right, thank you.
Jeff Gordon, he's led every lap so far.
Great, Alan. Absolutely, AB. He has. And Jeff Gordon is a two-time winner at this racetrack. In fact, the last time Chevrolet won here 12 races ago, it was he won this race from the pole back in June of 2001. And speaking of winning, his last win this year came back on June 10th. Lap 106, he's battling with Ryan Newman in turn 3. Remember, only 3 turns at Pocono, and Gordon needed to hang on. He battled back because they said weather was coming in, and indeed the rains came in, and the race was considered complete, and Jeff Gordon had picked up his 4th win of the year and celebrated with Steve Letarte, the last time they were able to celebrate together, because Letarte has not been back on the racetrack or to the racetrack until today, guys, and that should make a big difference for that whole team.
Yeah, it should make a big difference, but I can't help but laugh and talk about these drivers. It's actually a little bit early for some of these drivers to be even out of the bed, much less racing. I remember one early morning practice with Schrader at Darlington when they had one of these real early morning practices, and he made that first run, came in. I said, "How's the car?" He goes, loud.
Yeah, generally the drivers might say they're a little wobbly in the morning when they go out that early and they're not awake and things like that. But hey, Jerry, I just looking out the window, things are really looking up right now. The fog is lifted. Everybody can see all around this racetrack really good, and it looks like NASCAR is getting a little excited about maybe getting this thing started.
You were always a morning guy, right?
No, I'm not a morning guy. I can tell you right now that I'm not a morning guy. Never have been. I don't even want to be.
I think I heard your wife Patty just laughing from here.
Yeah, probably
all right,
so.
The guys are out of the cars on pit road. And Mark Martin is there. Greg Biffle. You see Matt Kenseth. All former winners here. 2008 Joe Gibbs Racing Team. We talked about the new addition this week. Let's find out what the senior member of that team thinks about it. Mike is standing by with Tony Stewart.
Of course, he has a bird's eye view right now sitting on his pit box trying to evaluate track conditions, but he had a better view behind the wheel. What was the fog like?
It's hard for us to see it because we're moving constantly, and we can see all the way around because we're in one spot at one time. But obviously for the officials and the spotters, it's a lot more difficult. So I know it's frustrating for everybody, but that's why we're proud to have NASCAR as a sanctioning body, is they're making sure that it's 100% safe for us to go out there when we're going to be running 208, 209 miles an hour going in the corners.
And logistically, this has affected everybody. Tests have been canceled. People are trying to get their cars prepared for Bristol. But this has affected you, too. You had something scheduled tonight, didn't you?
Well, I still do have something scheduled tonight. I'm going to be at Paducah, Kentucky at Paducah International Raceway running a dirt late model tonight for the guys from Rocket Chassis and Johnny Morse with Bass Pro Shop. So looking forward to going there tonight. We'll get there. Even if I got to get there late, I'll be there one way or the other. So there's one thing, they won't race at night here. So if it gets dark, I'll get down there in time to at least run the main for sure.
Well, guys, Tony Stewart has a double header on tap today. It's a question of whether or not he'll make it. He says he will. So folks in Paducah, Kentucky, you can count on the man.
Tony Stewart has been on fire, as evidenced by the fact of his incredible performance in the last 30 laps a week ago at Watkins Glen. What an event-filled event at historic Watkins Glen International, and the finish was in doubt until the final couple laps. 43 of NASCAR's finest take the green flag at Watkins Glen. 5th DNF of the year for the 8 car in Dale Earnhardt Jr. Tempers flaring here on a restart, and 3 of the contenders are out of it.
Harvick's really mad at Montoya right now.
Harvick is not a guy you want to mess with. And Jeff Gordon has spun around with 2 laps to go, the leader. Tony Stewart, winner of the Nextel Cup at Watkins. Welcome back to Michigan International Speedway. Kyle Busch, who is a huge college football fan, will be kicking off college football here on our ESPN and Disney family of networks. Oh, the drivers have been called to their cars. He catches one last pass. Yeah, touchdown. And Kyle Busch, by the way, is a huge Michigan Wolverines fan. He became a Michigan fan back when older brother Kurt was driving for Jack Roush, and he got to visit up here. And early in the week, he got to visit once again over to the Big Blue in Ann Arbor.
This has been cool. I've never been to anything like this, never been a part of anything outside racing. So to be able to witness this and see you guys and see your drive and determination here is pretty awesome.
Drivers are climbing aboard their cars. How special was that Lloyd car and some of the Michigan players able to visit with Kyle Busch? I think they timed him in the 40, but no one would tell us what Kyle ran the 40 in. He's much quicker, though, in that Hendrick car.
He's a pretty lengthy kid. He's kind of skinny. He probably could run pretty fast, Jerry. I mean, I'd like to know what that time was.
Let's take a look at our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge. Which on-the-bubble driver will make it to the chase? Is it Kurt Busch, Ryan Newman, Dale Earnhardt Jr., or Greg Biffle? You can text the word crew to 191 on your wireless phone and send in your answer. The results will be shown later on in today's action here at Michigan. Drivers are climbing back on their cars. We're going to fire them up and go racing when we come back. We promise here in Michigan. As promised, the cars are rolling as we welcome you back to Michigan International Speedway. We will get 1 to go as they come by. The yellow is being waved now. They are behind the pace car. Now, most of the guys got out of the cars, but I think one guy opted to stay in, Dave. Why?
Well, and I think he's a guy here who probably has raced more times here than any other driver. 55 starts for Bill Elliott. Fatback, why did your driver stay in the car? Did he know something?
Yeah, he didn't want to deal with you.
He could have come up here and had lunch, which your whole crew did during this break.
Yeah, we all just had lunch, and then me and my brain trust were trying to figure out if we were going to have regular honey bun or iced honey bun.
See, it's all about dessert. Now, he saved it long enough to get that on the air, but at some point you're going to have to down that thing today because we still got some racing to do.
Yeah, we're going to get it pretty quick here before the race starts back, but can't beat a Little Debbie honey bun. I mean, how's it get any better than that?
When you get going, what kind of a race car has Bill had this weekend, Mike?
We were pretty happy with our car. I mean, we qualified fairly good, and we were real happy in race stream. You know, we had a good finish here last time, and this is everywhere we've been so far, it's been our second time we've done better. So we're really looking forward to today.
All right, Bill Elliott, Michael Fatback McSwain, and the crew of the 21 car knowing the weather here and getting ready to go racing.
Thanks, Dave. Michael McSwain and I have been friends for a long time. We're from the same hometown, and I'm just guessing, going out on a limb here, I bet that's not Michael's first honey bun.
Maybe not. Maybe they don't call him Fatback for nothing. But he's trimmed down here lately. Last few years, he's trimmed down quite a bit.
I think everybody's from your hometown, Jerry. It seems like.
Well, Dale Jarrett, Andy Petrie, Michael McSwain.
That's a small city with a lot of talent in it, that's for sure.
We were talking about Bill Elliott and his incredible history here. His first win here came in 1983, and look, these guys were not even born yet when Bill Elliott won his first race. And Chad McCumbee, by the way, who was subbing for Kyle Petty, who broke a hand after some frustration at Watkins Glen last week, had some surgery on the hands, going to have it checked again this week. We maybe see Kyle back in the car at Bristol, Tennessee. Well, guys, getting ready to come to the green flag, and we are told that it's going to be green flag racing finally after 2 days of steady rains and lots of watching and waiting. A high, wide, and handsome 2-mile high-banked oval at Michigan is going to showcase NASCAR's finest stars.
Well, thank gosh, as I was just getting ready to say, whether it's foggy or not, let's hammer down and get this thing started, because I believe the wake off these cars can create enough of airflow. It's actually going to keep the fog up in the air a little bit, Andy. These cars create a lot of aerodynamic wake, and it'll actually push itself up over 40 to 50 foot tall in the air, how much turbulence comes off these cars.
And then the exhaust off the headers and everything, the engines will actually put a little heat in the track and help that effect too. So let's go racing. I can actually see the track better though now than what we could earlier, and I think we're ready to go.
NASCAR has moved that competition yellow that was going to be at lap 25 now to lap 30 because we have completed 11 laps, and we are just getting set to go green. 12 former winners in this field. It is the 77th NASCAR Nextel Cup race run at this 2-mile oval. Front row, two-time winner Jeff Gordon and two-time Michigan winner Greg Biffle. Ford and Chevy side by side. These fans on their feet as NASCAR's finest come down to the green flag.
Well, you heard our in-race reporter, Greg Biffle, say he wanted to try to get the jump on Jeff Gordon to get those precious 5 points, and he got it because you might not be able to get them later, but he's got it right now. And everybody looks like they're settled in, and everything's smooth right now, Andy.
Bobby Labonte working underneath Jeff Gordon. He's got a good car here early. He had a good car in practice, too, so I think Bobby's looking for a really strong race.
Across the top of your screen, the ticker going by, the green cars, the names that are in green like Harvick, they are currently in the chase for the championship. Those in yellow are on the bubble or could be on the bubble here these next 4 events. And that is real time, folks, as they move around in this field. One driver could go from yellow to green, being able to make it in the chase. Jeff Gordon running second. Let's check in his pits with Alan Best. Oh, trouble. Juan Pablo Montoya, who had trouble early on here in June.
Hold on, just hold it right there. Keep it off the wall. You haven't hit nothing. You're good. Hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake. Come on, you're good. Didn't hit anything.
Caution out here for the first time today. Chad McCumbee subbing for Kyle Petty. Also spin, didn't have contact. Neither did Juan Pablo here in the Dodge.
Amazingly, they don't hit anything. It doesn't look like anybody made any contact.
Well, for all you young drivers watching, you never spin out at Michigan International Speedway and do not hit the wall. Juan Pablo Montoya held the brakes, kept that car locked down, and stayed on the brake pedal, and the car spun and came to a stop. Let's take a look at this replay, guys. Now, this is a classic aero loose. He got alongside the 22 car, Dave Blaney. Airflow did not get down the side of his car to his rear spoiler, and he just spun the car out. That's just kind of a rookie mistake, but this is not a rookie mistake, Andy. Look at that. Tires locked down, and he didn't hit the wall. That's the way you do it.
He did a great job not to hit the wall. And that it looked like maybe he was trying to stay off of that 22 car, too, because he didn't have enough room to chase the car up the hill to catch that car when it got loose. And by doing that, he did keep from taking the 22 car of Dave Blaney out with him.
Come on.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s onboard camera watching the spinning cars as he gets to the inside and just go by. Caution at Michigan.
Good job, Jim. Heck of a job.
We welcome you back to Michigan, where we are under caution for the first time today. An incident on lap 14 that involved 3 cars: Joe Nemechek, Chad McCumbee, and Juan Pablo Montoya. Here's what happened just a moment ago.
You see the 42 car get down underneath the 22 of Dave Blaney, and he gets aero loose. He spins the car, and him and the spotter do a great job. Spotters tell him to keep the brakes locked down, and he did a great job, didn't hit anything.
Let's listen in to what Kevin Harvick had to say a moment ago. You see what's left of that tire from Montoya, and he was sliding sideways. Let's listen to what Harvick had to say.
Hopefully it's good enough where he can't come back out. What a damn idiot move. It's not a matter of if he's going to wreck, it's just a matter of when he's going to wreck.
I'll tell you one thing, if I was Kevin Harvick, I would never laugh at a pass on Hurst. They used to tell me that. Be careful, man. Don't do anything like that or run your mouth, because you might get yourself in trouble one of these days saying stuff like that.
Hard to point the finger, but they're getting back to racing here at Michigan. Jeff Gordon getting a little racy. It was Biffle who got the jump on the original start and pulled away by about 5 car lengths. Gordon hanging with him now.
That's one of the surprising things I see developing early, is that upper groove is actually better than the lower groove, and I thought that would be the opposite. And as we see, Greg Biffle just took the lead away from Jeff Gordon on the high side, and a lot of these guys already making time up top.
Seems as though they're just trying to go wherever they can as quickly as they possibly can to make a pass. And if you get in a corner and your car's got grip, you're going to go for it, whether it's the bottom, middle, or top lane. And right now, this track is totally green all the way through the track, so there probably is not a preferred lane like you'd normally think there would be.
Our Wrangler telemetry will show you exactly what we're talking about in terms of speed, and they get up there over 187, almost 190, over 190 miles an hour.
Well, about 197, 98, 200 now. Over that, getting into turn 3. But now you want to see the big number. Wait till they get down the back straight or the front straightaway into turn 1. That's where the miles per hour are going to be at its very highest.
Here we see Jimmy Johnson racing his teammate Kyle Busch. These guys are really running. They're running almost qualifying speeds here in these early laps.
You're talking a track temperature, Andy, that's cooler than these guys have ever had it since they've been here all week long in practice or qualifying. So these cars have got an enormous amount of grip right now. They're really handling well, and everybody's taking full advantage of that. That's the reason you see the speeds so high early in the race.
Plus these drivers, Carl Edwards all the way up across the racetrack, and Carl manages to hang on, but I guess they call that a moment when a driver's car just suddenly starts slipping out from under him.
Well, that's one of the things that happens, Jerry, when you got a car that's driving so good. You're picking the throttle up so early in the middle of 3 and 4, and when you get off at turn 4, you're carrying so much speed, you get loose or you get tight. Something's going to happen. Now he's working the bottom groove, Carl Edwards is, and that bottom groove, guys, is about 2 degrees less banking than the second groove. In qualifying and practice, they're going to run that second groove because that's where the most banking is. But in the race, they're going to run over. Where they can get away with, that's where they're going to run. Now you see Edwards on the flatter portion of the track, and this car's working okay down there to make a pass.
Edwards moves up, and speaking of moving up, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car and his teammate at DEI, Martin Truex in the 1, are picking them off one by one and moving up.
Now Dale Jr. just needs to keep himself out of trouble right now. He's had a transmission failure. He's had to come from the back. If you're just tuning in right now, he's had a transmission failure. He had to start tailback. He's working himself through the field right now, and his car looks good. Mike, you got more on Junior?
Well, yeah, Rusty, you know, Junior said some interesting things this week. He said after Watkins Glen, he expects that some people will write him off for the chase, but he said to do that would be absolutely foolish. He has extreme confidence in this team, and he said he describes the way things have played out recently as if having your favorite CD in your stereo with a scratch on it. It plays, you enjoy the music, then you hear the scratch, and it all goes away. His objective right now with his car, keeping with the analogy, is to get the end of the song, and if he does that, he feels like he'll be all right. I also spoke with Tony Uri Jr. this week, and he said it's not as if we're running 30th. If we were doing that, he'd really feel bad. Alan?
And Junior's teammate at DEI, Martin Truex Jr., had to start in the back of this race. They discovered a problem with the oil pressure in their engine after final practice on Saturday. This is one of the teams on the bubble for making the chase. They come into the day 11th in the championship standings. Truex Jr., though, driving the same car with which he finished second here in June. They just need to miss trouble. They think they can get up toward the front.
Everybody's worried about engines, especially at this track, because these engines never get any rest. The RPM levels are sustained very, very high, and you see these lap speeds now are almost qualifying type speeds they're running, so I'm sure these guys are worried about engines.
Onboard camera shot looking across from Robbie Gordon's car number 7. That Jim Beam Ford, seeing as you saw Casey Mears going by, Martin Truex now has made the pass and gotten in front of Robbie Gordon for position.
You see Dale Earnhardt Jr. working that top lane still. He's awful high against that wall. But running that high, guys, that gives you a lot of momentum off of turn 4. Look how he makes the pass and how he's catching everybody. He's picking up that turbulent air. He's right on the back bumper of Casey Mears right now, shoving him down in the draft into turn 4. That is a classic case of aerodynamics, how you can use them and make your car go faster in a straightaway.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has the best average finish of any driver here over the last 3 races. And for you Earnhardt Jr. fans, he has led the last 4 in a row and not finished worse than 6 here in the last 2 years.
The 17 car, Matt Kenseth, he's been on the move, guys. This fella is always a threat when it comes to Michigan. His Roush Fenway Ford is always quick. For some reason, guys, Andy, this car always seems like it turns better than most cars out there. The front end's always stuck better. Always able to maneuver himself around traffic more better than others.
And I think that's because Matt Kenseth and Robbie Reiser work so good together, and they've got such a chemistry there. They know how to get this car to do just exactly what Matt wants it to do.
More on the 17 car. Let's check in with Mike.
Well, Doc, I spoke with Robbie Reiser this weekend, and he had an interesting take on the way this team's going to approach the next 4 races. He said it's really about gaining momentum for the chase. He says the key this year for them is to improve car performance. Robbie said that every year this team's been in the sport, he felt like they were as good as anyone, but it has a little different feel this year. He does not feel like he's on a par level with the leaders, and he feels that's because of car performance. They need to get better. Guys?
They indeed want to get better. Since 2000, Matt Kenseth has more top 5 and top 10s on the 2-mile ovals than any other driver in NASCAR. Getting set for the competition caution. Back in Michigan, 30 of 200 laps are complete. Greg Biffle is our leader, and the competition yellow that NASCAR was talking about is now waving to allow everyone to come on to pit road and take a look at those tires and make some adjustments.
Well, for all the guys that were out there running well, running good, happy with their car, this is a kind of a no big deal. But the fellows running bad, losing the rear ends, the front end sliding around, having a chassis issue, Andy, this is a great time.
It's also a good time for some of these guys that started in the back, like Dale Earnhardt Jr. and those guys, maybe to try to roll the dice on right sides or do something to try to move themselves up in this pack.
Well, I'm pretty impressed with Dale Jr. He's all the way up in the field right now, clear up to 24th. He started dead last back in a 43 position, and all by himself, he's drove this thing all the way up to the position he's in right now, so he's got to feel confident in that car right now.
He's been driving that high line just like this car right here, Brian Vickers. They've been using that high line right up against the wall and using all that momentum to get all this track position. And if you get your car to really work up there, there's really never hardly any traffic up. You don't have a lot of traffic to deal with up there. This car's running 7th.
Brian Vickers running 7th, started back in 18th position. We saw him have a great run early in the year at Lowe's Motor Speedway back in May when he led 74 laps, but he was very good here in the Busch race on Saturday, and it seems like these Toyotas have sort of begun to catch fire a little bit here over the last 3 or 4 races.
They're starting to work on that engine package and making it better and better every week, and it's starting to show up on the track.
I really think some of the bleed over from Saturday's race for Brian Vickers is definitely working today, because he is just flying out there and he's dead on top of the track doing it.
Competition yellow on the racetrack to allow everyone to come on the pit road at 55 miles an hour. It's single file, the parade, as Greg Biffle will lead them down, and all the adjustments will begin to take place. Let's go down to Jamie Little.
And Jack Canals calling his first pit stop in 6 weeks. Jimmy Johnson pulls into his pit box. He's gained 2 spots on the track already. He said he went down to that lower groove to help him turn a little bit. He said the track is pretty slick. Up top, 4 tires and an air pressure adjustment. Mike?
Matt Kenseth feeling the effects of a green racetrack, saying he's very tight in the center of the corners. 4-tire change and a chassis adjustment. Dave?
Greg Biffle, the leader, middle of your screen. 4-tire change, air added to the right rear, trouble in the left rear, slow stop. Alan.
And because they didn't need a full fuel load and want to keep their track position, Jeff Gordon's team just a 2-tire stop and off pit road first.
Race off of pit road. Andy Petrie, you called it. 2 tires for some of the guys rolling the dice. You said Gordon gains a spot will lead. Brian Vickers guys up 3 spots, and Clint Boyer also up 3 positions.
I expected some of the back guys to roll the dice on 2 tires. I didn't expect Jeff Gordon to, but we'll get a good indication on how it works. You see this crew cam, Marty Forcier changing that tire. You can see how they hit those lug nuts and spin around the car here.
Look at all that brake dust flying out. He's got to get in those guys' eyes. Incredible job these guys do. I wouldn't want to be one of them, that's for sure.
Here's the front tire changer, Mark Hollywood Armstrong. For Paul Menard on the 15 car, the veteran out of Gastonia, North Carolina, getting it done on pit road. Back with the green in a moment. We welcome you back to Michigan. Have just gone green. Robbie Gordon, who did not stop, was the leader for the first time since Infineon Raceway back in June, but he has been passed now. He did not come on the pit road. And the 83 car we told you about, he started back in 18th spot and went flying up to 7th. Great run for Brian Vickers, right now being shown in the 2nd position.
And Brian Vickers was the strongest car in the Busch race here on Saturday at Michigan, and he just had a car that was dominant throughout the day. He didn't get the numbers that he wanted or the finish, but he definitely had the fastest car, and he's got the same thing going on today.
I think he's got the strongest car in this race right now. I mean, he's just been going high, low, just passing cars right and left. We're going to see what he's really got here as he chases down Jeff Gordon.
A mystery to me is why the 7 car Robbie Gordon didn't pit. He stayed out there, didn't take advantage of the mandatory caution, and right now, guys, they're just driving off him with those new tires.
And worse yet, he's got 35 laps on his fuel. He hasn't been able to put fuel in the car since the start of the race, so he's going to have to make a green flag stop if it goes green.
Good battle, the 07, 11, and 48. That is Boyer, Hamlin, and Jimmy Johnson, 3rd, 4th, and 5th right here. And it looks Boyer currently is leading, but it gets getting a challenge now for Johnson. That is for 3rd position.
But Jerry, one of the things I'm looking at is Greg Biffle, the 16 car. Now, he was out front dominating this race. He's running in that clean air, just driving off. And now he's got himself involved in all this traffic. And when you got all this traffic, man, you just can't make the passes. Now look him wobble up the racetrack. He doesn't have that downforce. Guys, you've heard us talking about draft track, how aerodynamics works, and look how it really affects the car.
Here goes Jimmy Johnson passing Clint Boyer. Makes a nice clean pass. This car looks strong early.
Jimmy Johnson's a fellow we talked about a lot. He's got Chad Knaus back right now. A lot of confidence there. Michael Waltrip.
Michael Waltrip, we are being told, might have a tire going down on pit road, unscheduled stop.
And that's not...
Yeah, I'm sorry, he had a great starting spot, starting 11th in the race. We expected him to have maybe one of his better races. This is going to hurt him, making this stop right after these guys just made caution flag stop.
The only positive thing about that, he's probably the only guy right now that'll be a lap down. He can get the lucky dog if the caution flag does fly. That's going to put him back in the race.
Jeff Gordon up front, where for the first time in a number of events here, he has struggled at Michigan. A 2-time winner here, having a pretty good run here after that pit stop, Alan.
And just after that stop, where they took just right side tires, Doc, crew chief Steve Letarte on the radio to his driver explaining why.
Change a little air pressure and put us the right sides. I'd like to see how it works here.
You know, we learned that almost too late in the race last time. We couldn't do it again, you know.
Well, that's
So a little bit of during race research in case they need to use just right sides at the end, kind of focusing on what the air pressures need to be and how the car will perform with just a 2-tire change for later.
Yeah, that's really interesting right there. That's a pretty heads-up move by Steve Letarte to think of that. Trying something early in the race, if it doesn't work, you'll have a lot of time to make up for it. But his car is flying on these 2 tires. These laps he ran on the restart were just as fast as some of the laps that Greg Biffle ran right off the bat in the start of the race. So I think it's working for him. But Jimmy Johnson's car really strong here, driving under Brian Vickers.
For more information on radio chatter between driver and crew chief, log on to ESPN.com, search word communications.
Really impressed with what Steve Letarte did, making that decision for 2 tires. You know, when you're leading the race and you're up in front like that, you can afford to do things like that. But if you got a bad handling car and you're about 8th, 9th, 10th in that area there, I wouldn't want to be on 2 tires. The only reason you would do that if you want to try to get the track position, but then you might fall back. But obviously it's working for the 24 car, Jeff Gordon, right now. So now they got in their memory bank late in the race. If we got to use it, we feel confident doing that.
Couple of former winners here battling for 10th position. Mark Martin, you're riding along with him, the U.S. Army onboard camera on his Chevrolet, now a DEI car. And that is Bobby Labonte in the 43, driving for the King Richard Petty, a 3-time winner here.
See our telemetry right now. Mark Martin's ducking out, trying to make the pass, and Bobby Labonte getting down into turn 1. We have 2 veterans racing side by side. Bobby Labonte will probably give him the spot. He says, hey, it's a little too early to be racing right now, but he moves up the track and gives Mark a lot of room, which is a good thing to do. Whoa, tightens back up right there on the exit of turn 2.
You can hear Mark Martin getting out of the throttle right there. So make sure he doesn't get into Bobby. These guys, real veteran race car drivers, and still, you see side by side, still trying to make the pass.
And that is rookie David Reagan in the 6 car behind him. That's the car, of course, that Mark Martin drove for 19 years, driving for Jack Roush. Pretty good way for David Reagan to learn by following these 2 guys, Rusty.
Oh, it really is. Those are 2 great veterans right there to follow and learn something, but it looks like he's not patient at all. He's trying to shove Bobby right past Mark Martin, who used to drive the car he's driving right now.
83 car, Brian Vickers. That car has got some muscle moving in on the 48 and has to back out, and they choose different grooves now in the corner.
You see that wiggle right there for Brian Vickers, but he's making that upper groove work for him and using that momentum, Rusty, to get down these straightaways. Makes it feel like he got 1,000 horsepower to it.
Well, you got that right, Andy. He gets so much speed down that back straightaway. When he gets into turn 3, he's like, I can't carry this much speed dead behind him. I got to go to this top lane to get some grip to try to keep it going. Now he's doing it again. He's up there searching that top lane to try to get some more grip. And when he does that, he gets more momentum also.
I think as these tires get more laps on him, that's going to work even better for him, too.
He is an expert driver when it comes to running the high lane. You take a look at fellows like Richard Petty. Remember, Richard used to run the top. And
Harry Gant.
Oh, my gosh. And now Casey Kane is always in the top. And Brian Vickers, we see him doing the same thing a lot.
Carl Edwards in the 99. He's another guy that likes the top of the racetrack.
Carl Edwards being shown in 4th position. The furthest back anyone has started here and won a race at Michigan was 28th. And the guy who did it drives the Home Depot Chevy right there. Tony Stewart back in 2000. And today, Stewart started way back in 35th position, but is clicking them off one by one, now being shown in the 15th spot.
And since the restart, he's gained 9 spots. So he's definitely on the move.
Mike?
And, Doc, we've heard Tony Stewart over the last couple of weeks talking about the bonus points, going for wins, and that really has been the attitude. Stewart said recently that they have the freedom right now to experiment. He said the good thing is, though, he doesn't feel like they need to. Feels like they're strong across the board, and they're showing it again today. Dave?
Greg Biffle's going the wrong way right now, Mike. Restarted 4th. Remember, he lost the lead on pit road when they had trouble on the left rear of the car. Actually had trouble pulling that tire off of Greg Biffle's number 16. That's what cost him time on pit road. But since then, the car very, very loose. And while Greg was not calling for many adjustments when he was running out front early in this race, he's talking to crew chief Greg Irwin saying we need to do some track bar, a little wedge, a little air pressure, get this thing back right. Too loose to be fast right now.
This has to hurt Robbie Gordon now on pit road under the green flag here at lap 45.
This has to be a huge mistake by the team not to pit under that last caution flag, because this is going to make them real vulnerable to get down a lap if this thing goes green a while. Mike?
And this was kind of a mistake. It took the team by surprise when they did not come down pit road under the competition caution. I asked Gene Need, the crew chief, why. He simply threw his hands up in the air, and that is a good enough explanation. It seems like it was all in Robbie's hands.
Robbie Gordon coming in on lap 45 will lose a lap because of not pitting under the competition yellow, but the guy they're chasing is another Gordon up front. In fact, it's his teammate that's chasing him. Top 5, Edwards, Kenseth, Vickers, Jimmy Johnson, and Jeff Gordon, the 2-time winner here at Michigan, trying to get win number 3 here today.
Wednesday, behind the scenes of the sexiest, toughest sport on earth. 43 drivers, only one winner. So what happens when it's not you?
1 week you're hero, and the next week you're zero.
Just wait until you see ABC's NASCAR in Primetime, Wednesday at 9.
Back in Michigan, what a great chance to go behind the scenes and see what happens week in and week out with the teams and the families and the crews. NASCAR Primetime on ABC. Well, we've had some primetime action up front here since we've been away just a moment ago. Jeff Gordon was leading when we left, and now it is his teammate Jimmy Johnson who is taking over at Michigan.
Let's take a look at this lead change right here. Jimmy Johnson, a lot of run up off of turn 4, guys. Big head of steam, catching up with Jeff Gordon in the draft, getting down as they approach turn 1. He ducks down low to try to get into clean air. Front end sticks. He picks up that throttle and drives off. Oh, it's a classic pass. That was just really cool pass by using that bottom lane, the aerodynamics there, Andy.
And Andy, moments later, Jeff Gordon loses another spot.
I got to think that those 2 tires are starting to take its toll a little bit here on the 24 car. These other guys having a little fresher left side tires were able to take advantage of it.
You know, Brian Vickers continues to run that top lane. He's just comfortable right there. He's settled in. And we saw that with Brian also in the Busch race on Saturday, where he just stuck that Toyota to the top of the track. And that's where he was just happiest at. You know, Denny Hamlin did the same thing, the fellow who won the race. He worked on the bottom of the track, the middle, and when it was all said and done, they all went to the top, and that was the fastest way to get around here at Michigan.
We talked about how the 2-car of Kyle Busch had been on a mission. He had come from 238 points back out of the chase to now 96 points in the chase. A cushion and that dominating performance at Pocono just a couple of weeks ago. And here knows Kyle Busch. He moves to the inside of the 24, and he will take that spot away. That is 5th position.
Well, Jerry, he can't get away from Dale Earnhardt Jr. now. Jr. just moved up to 13th in the points. 13th in the points. He's running 18th right now. He started dead last. So Junior, the 8-car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is on a roll himself right now. So these two, you can just feel it that they're racing each other.
And Kurt Busch just gets clear of Jeff Gordon. You see these guys, you got to have that extra room getting off the corner right there to make that pass, to make it stick, because if you don't, then Jeff Gordon could use that momentum to come back around Kurt Busch.
More on Kurt Busch. Let's check in with Jamie.
Well, the owner of Kurt Busch's number 2 Dodge is Roger Penske. He lives right here in Detroit. I was talking to him this morning. He was here this weekend, went back home for a couple days, and he's back watching his driver this morning. And I asked, with this points chase the way it is right now, this race for the chase, does that change things up? And both Roger Penske and Pat Trice, crew chief, told me it really does. Not only are they worrying about their race strategy, they're worrying about their point strategy as well. They're keeping an eye on those drivers that are around them in the points. Of course, Ryan Newman and Dale Earnhardt Jr. They're not telling their driver that, but they're keeping a close watch from atop. Let's go to Alan.
And Jeff Gordon just radioing his crew, telling them that he has never had a car this tight here before. Meaning the front end lacking grip right now means he can't get in the throttle as he'd like and keep the speed up. But remember, they took just 2 tires on the pit stop trying to see how their car would react so they know what to adjust if they have to do it again late in the race.
I talked to Steve Letarte this morning in the garage area, and they said that Jeff, you know, talking to Steve, he said they like to practice, do all their practicing on the bottom of the racetrack. They don't really let Jeff search around on the track in practice, and so they just tune the car to where that is, and then they're gonna, you know, when they they just rely on Jeff to move around the racetrack to try to help him.
Well, take a look at the 8-car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He is sailing around the top of that track. And he's also got some help with the 1-car, Martin Truex, Andy, right behind him. When he gets in on his bumper, he's going to help him draft. Now, Greg Biffle dives in between them there. But Biffle's had a bad handled car. He's searching around trying to get some grip. There's one thing for sure. The 1-car of Martin Truex and the 8-car of Dale Jr., they're committed to the top of the track right now.
It looks like that's the preferred line.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to get toward the front. Remember, he has led the last 4 consecutive NASCAR Nextel Cup races here at Michigan. Let's listen into his radio.
I don't like this right front spring because when I get late in the run, it won't sit on it. I'm tight in the center or loose off. All right, people. Tight in the middle, roll over, spin out off.
You know, what Dale Earnhardt Jr. is talking about is how that car sets down on top of these springs in the corner when you get all the load in there. And he doesn't like the timing of the way it's sitting on that spring because it's making the car push in the middle and then it's loose off, and it makes the car very inconsistent.
83 car, the Toyota, that is a Toyota Camry for Brian Vickers in 3rd position, trying to get the 2nd. And this Camry is having a great afternoon here on the Speedways. Dave?
4-tire stop for Brian Vickers on that first pit stop. A little bit tight in the middle with an air pressure adjustment. But the interesting conversation with Brian right now has been listening to him talk to his engineers over the radio. They're asking him, tell us what your revolutions per minute are, your RPMs off the corners. Remember, this group has been working very hard on the power band for these motors. So Brian's giving him real-time information as he looks down at his... Oh, what's that gauge called, Andy? I can't spit it out right now.
It's a tachometer.
The tachometer, that's right. As he looks down at the tach and says it's about 7,200 middle of the corner, about 8,000 by the time I exit. That's information they can use to find out if they're making progress with that power plant.
Well, that 83 car, Brian Vickers, just had his nose up under the back of the 17 and got him really loose. And we've been watching the power of that 83 coming down the straightaways, and he was really running down Matt Kenseth's big time. So all the cars I'm looking at out here today have got a pile of horsepower under the hood. That 83, when you compare it to the rest of them, he's got the strongest, that's for sure.
Let's check out our sprint speed lap on the 83 car for Brian Vickers.
It's like the last lap. Just about lost it right there.
Nice and easy here, nice and easy. 17's right with you, buddy.
Well, if you don't think those guys are driving hard, how about that right there, Rusty?
Well, the 83 got behind the 17, got him really loose. And you know that's on Kenseth's mind right now. He wants to get him loose back. That probably made him mad that he got that loose. These two need to settle down right now, get away from each other, and run that 48 car down instead of playing around here now.
Chevrolet up front, the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson. Toyota is 2nd and Ford is 3rd. Remember, we are in the shadows of what they call the Motor City. The big 3 automakers are here, General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler, but a Toyota making some noise here at the top, toward the front of the field. Toyota's very first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series win came here at this Michigan Oval in their 13th start 3 years ago. They have yet to win, though, in the Nextel Cup Series.
Looks like they're going to have their best shot here today with Brian Vickers. His car's awful strong. We heard Dave talking about that RPM band and asking Brian to look at the tachometer coming off the corners. That's one of the places that this Toyota engine has been lacking, is in that bottom end range of the power band and those lower RPMs. We see him right here powering by Jimmy Johnson on that, using that momentum from the high lane.
Now, Jimmy Johnson just gave up that position on purpose. He moved down, let those guys go. He's led some laps right now. He's got his bonus points. He knows that the 48 to 17 are quicker, so just pretty smart driver right there in Jimmy Johnson. Let's just get behind him now, follow him. He's talking to Chad Knaus, and they're working his chassis setup out.
Let's check out our Allstate Good Hands move of the race on behalf of Brian Vickers. Allstate will donate $1,000 to the Urban Youth Racing School. Now watch this move and watch this save by Brian Vickers.
Wow, that is sideways right there. It's 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, I started to say it, 200. You don't want to get much more sideways than that. That was unbelievable save out of him. Great job as Kurt Busch is running him down right now.
Back at Michigan International Speedway, yes, we are finally underway with NASCAR Nextel Cup action after 2 days of rain. First ever in the history of NASCAR, racing after a rain delay or weather delay on Tuesday. Our McDonald's race rundown. Yeah, we had lots of weather move in on Sunday and Monday, and the crews had to wait and just wipe the cars down and hope things got underway. Well, when it finally did get underway, the guy who struggled here back in June and finished 43rd, Juan Pablo Montoya, had his issues on the inside of Dave Blaney and gets his Dodge sideways. Scraped the rubber off the tires, but that's all he scraped as the car was undamaged. Points leader Jeff Gordon took only 2 tires, a great strategy move on the competition yellow, and Gordon was the leader until his teammate Jimmy Johnson made the pass on the inside. Jeff Gordon then on that 2-tire stop began to slide back as Matt Kenseth was able to go by. Pit stops happening. The 16 car of Biffle just on and off of pit road.
And they need to unadjust what they did, because the last adjustment they made really hurt the car. Now you see Jeff Gordon coming down. He probably can't wait for those 4 tires to get back in that car.
This 2-car Kurt Busch has been on the move. I've been watching his lap times, and he's just been really laying them down here, and he finally gets by Jimmy Johnson.
Here's Jeff Gordon on pit road. AB?
And they're going to make a track bar and air pressure adjustment. See the wrench going in the right rear corner there. That's to adjust the center position of the rear end in the car. Jeff Gordon wanting these 4 tires badly. He had fallen back to a 10th position. Probably wants the adjustments just as much as the fresh tires. Mike.
Matt Kenseth radioing in, saying he's loose in, snug in the middle, and loose off. Air pressure adjustment, the only change they'll make. 4 tires and fuel for Matt Kenseth as they swing around to the left side. A pretty clean stop for the 17 team.
And Denny Hamlin has brought his car down the pit lane, running solidly in the top 10 all race long. Hamlin going to get a 4-tire change and a slight adjustment to help the rear end grip on this Chevrolet. Dave?
And the 29 car of Kevin Harvick coming in as well. Tight off the corner was Kevin's complaint on lap 47. They'll make air pressure adjustments to handle that for the 29 car. This will be a 4-tire change as well. They changed 4 on the first stop as well. Jamie.
And Jimmy Johnson in, he led those laps for extra bonus points. It's going to be 4 tires. He said he wants to turn better through the center. And he drops and he's away. Mike Massaro.
Tony Stewart climbing from 35th position inside the top 10, although he says he's tight on entry. No major adjustment. 4 tires and fuel for Tony Stewart, and he's away. Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who we heard earlier not happy at all with his race car, comes in, makes a 4-tire change and away.
Lots of adjustments on pit road, scheduled pit stops. Remember, they came in on lap 30, some 42 laps ago for their competition yellow. Dale Earnhardt Jr. back on the racetrack. And the 83 car, Brian Vickers, who was our leader, waving his hand out the left side window.
He's warning everybody behind him, hey, I'm getting ready to pit. Give me enough room. I'm going to slow down coming off of turn 4, come down pit road. So that's the right thing to do. Let everybody know around you what you're about to do.
And as high as he was running, he had to come across about 4 lanes of traffic to get to the bottom to make this pit stop.
Well, it came pretty obvious he had to get down pit road pretty quick. When he saw those leaders hitting pit road and coming out with those 4 fresh tires, you lose a lot of lap time if you stay in the track. Dave?
Brian Vickers gives up the lead now to come down pit road. That car started out very loose at the start of the run, Brian reported, but it got to tightening as the run went along. So they've called for an air pressure adjustment to help that situation. This crew very good on the first pit stop, very accurate, waiting on the jack now. Did a 4-tire change, gained positions on pit road, and it's another good stop for the 83 of Vickers.
And Ryan Newman giving up the 3rd position on the racetrack to come in and try to make his car a little bit better. Loose in the middle and loose off. They'll make a chassis adjustment. 4 tires and fuel, trying to tighten that car up here on pit road. The jack is dropped and Newman's away.
Remember Ryan Newman involved in that chase, a race to the chase. He was 13th in points coming into today. Needs to hang on and try to gain some points on Kurt Busch. Now, a close call a moment ago on pit road involving the 5 car of Kyle Busch and the 26 of McMurray right there.
Well, you don't want to get any closer than that. That was a great job on Kyle slowing down and letting McMurray into the pits, because he could have turned him sideways right into those pits and knocked a bunch of the crewmen down and probably had some injuries, Andy. And you know that's from you being in the pits, man, it's a scary moment.
Yeah, that was a close call right there. I've been one of those guys on pit road, and I know those are tense moments.
After pit stops to 17, back atop the leaderboard. Matt Kenseth leading here after 74 laps. Lots of great action on pit road here. The front tire carrier, Marty Forcier from Superior, Michigan, trying to perform in front of the home state fans. NASCAR Nextel Cup at Michigan action being brought to you by Chevy, the most wins in NASCAR history and American Revolution. By TGI Fridays Restaurants, new right portion, new right price menu. Give me more Fridays. And by Sprint, featuring NASCAR Nextel Cup Series updates at Sprint Speed. 79 of 200 laps are in the books, and scheduled pit stops have taken place. Matt Kenseth has cycled back to the front of the field in the 17 car. Kenseth has led twice for 7 laps today. The 2 car of Kurt Busch being shown in second spot. Jimmy Johnson is third. And the 83 car of Brian Vickers is in fourth.
83 car Brian Vickers. He's had a lot of straightaway speed under this car. He's really been using the draft a lot, guys. Real masterful. I've been really watching him. And let's take a look at him under our draft tracks. I want to see what this looks like one more time. Take a look. He's coming down the back straightaway now. He's in the turbulent air. Got a lot of air pockets. Lets him draft up easier, but he's carrying so much speed. Now the front end starts to push, and he's got to go to the top lane. Really didn't want to do it that quickly, but he did it because he lost the front end. Now he's got the grip. He's got the clean air. He's got the momentum, and he's coming back on the back of Jimmy Johnson now, getting in that turbulent air that lets him draft up easier. That's how you use it, guys.
These guys now ending in some pretty heavy traffic. Trying to get by the 48 car is Vickers. That is for third position. And Jimmy Johnson down on the bottom of the racetrack behind Casey Kane now tries to move on the inside.
Yeah, both these guys are working some heavy traffic, and I think that high line works better for when you're trying to work by this lap traffic than it does on the bottom. We saw Jimmy Johnson just have to get out of the throttle. Here, Brian Vickers now going to go to the bottom of the racetrack around Michael Waltrip.
Now the key here, he needs to get the thing stuck on the bottom of the track and pick up the throttle really hard in the center to run through. And as you can see, when he did that, he got loose trying to get that done, but it worked for him, and he made the pass.
Yeah, he said Michael Waltrip let him have it there, gave him a little room. You can see the little wave out the window from Brian Vickers saying, thanks for that help. I needed it.
Like when you wave when you win and when someone lets you in line in traffic.
The Toyota fellows have had a lot of problems this year, really struggling. Right now it looks like Michael and his Toyota and Brian Vickers are working together. That was a pretty cool move between both of them. Dave?
And inside his car, Brian's probably waving to his crew, too, a thank you to them. They made an air pressure adjustment on that car, and they asked him if it was the same as it was at the last restart, real loose. He said not as bad. So Brian's car has that loose feel to it, which is fast, but not so loose he can't drive it. It's better than the last time they made a pit stop.
He's right on edge right now. That rear end's dangling around on him, and I think I'd be calling you, Andy, say, give me a round of wedge, tighten this thing up. It looks a little dangerous watching it.
If you're running, but he's running so fast, would you really do that? Even if it's wiggling like that, but it's going fast, would you want to change it?
Well, if watching it on television, I would.
But if you were driving that car.
If I was driving the car, I know how much I can control it. But we're watching it right now. What are we doing? Armchair quarterback here, right?
He is. Brian Vickers is driving harder than just about anybody I see out there. He is wiggling every time you turn around. Here he is racing Jimmy Johnson side by side. These two guys have been glued together.
Let's take a look at another one of our sprint speed laps here for Brian Vickers, and this car is just absolutely stout.
That's why I wouldn't want to work on it too much. I just tell the driver, hang on to her, man. This thing's going fast. Don't want to adjust that. See, wiggling again, but he makes that pass on the 19 car.
Well, loose is fast, that's for sure. And he's jumping all over the racetrack, but he's holding on to that thing. But one car I'm really impressed with is the 8 car of Dale Jr. He just ran a 40.60. That's 0.3 faster than the leader right now. He's moved himself up to 10th in the running order. And remember, he started dead last. He's all the way up to 10th, and he has moved up to 13th in the points. So he's definitely going in the right direction.
this is definitely a horsepower racetrack too, and we heard Dale Jr. say earlier that his car has really got the power under the hood. These DEI guys are making a lot of steam under the hood.
He complimented the Dale Earnhardt Incorporated guys for just incredible horsepower. He said they were the best right now, the best horsepower in NASCAR is what he was talking about on our show on Saturday during the Busch race. And obviously he's showing it right now because this car is coming in a hurry. Earnhardt Jr.'s last win came at Richmond. You see there his average finish is the best overall. He has run awfully well here in the past. He's not finished out of the top 6 since August of 2005. He's led the last 4 events he has come here. But the guy he's chasing in 12th position is Kurt Busch, and where's he run? Second spot, right behind the 17 car of Matt Kenseth.
He might be running second right now, Jerry, but I can guarantee you while he's running second, he's asking, where's the 8 car? Where's the 8 car? Folks, you heard me talking earlier. Why am I talking about the 2 car and the 8 car when the 2 car was racing somebody else? It's because that's what's on his mind, that's for sure.
And speaking of history here, Kurt Busch has not had good history in the last couple of events. He's finished 25th, 5th, and 40th the last 2 times he has come to Michigan. Under caution at Michigan, leaders on pit road for the 3rd time today. Matt Kenseth, 13.5 seconds. Dave.
Brian Vickers is in, half around a wedge in the left rear, air in the right front. Want to tighten the car up just a little bit, Alan.
Want Denny Hamlin to stop short in his pit box so he can get around Jeff Gordon on exit. 4 tires, air pressure, and track bar adjustments.
Racing off of pit road, Brian Vickers, good pit work there for the team. Gained a spot, +6 for Jeff Gordon, Steve Letarte and company.
Using that number 1 pit stall there gained him a few spots too, and a good pit stop puts him out 6 spots ahead.
The reason we are under the yellow for the 3rd time today, the 0-1 of Mark Martin had some issues here just a moment ago, smoke billowing from the back of his Chevy.
It looks like he's blown an engine here because all the smoke coming out from under the car, and that's what we thought till we started hearing Mark on the radio saying that he didn't think the motor was blown.
Thing is smoking. Yeah, it's smoking pretty bad, boys. So it doesn't appear to be an engine, problem. Mark, caution's out for us. Let's go ahead and get it out of the groove. Get out of the groove.
We heard Mark saying he didn't think it was an engine problem because he didn't feel anything wrong and the engine was running fine, just a lot of smoke. So these guys are trying to figure it all out.
Let's check with our in-race reporter. As you see the 0-1 car, Mark Martin on pit road. They're trying to get him behind the wall to put some oil in it. Let's check in with Greg Biffle, who is our in-race reporter.
Greg Biffle, Rusty Wallace, ESPN. You got us, buddy?
Rusty.
Greg, what's the car doing out there? You really dominated the first part of the race, and it looks like after the first pit stop, it slid back a little bit. What's happening out there?
Just super loose, Rusty. I'm not getting the rear bite I need to. I was a little bit loose out front, but I could drive it. And the minute I got back in a little bit of traffic, just so loose I don't have any rear grip with the back end of the car. I'm just going in the corners, back in, slide. To wait till it stops and start giving it some gas. But that's what's hurting me the most. Just got the car a little too free. We're trying to tighten it up, but I think we got a good enough car to run in the top 5. We just got to get it tightened up here in the first part of this race so we can get back up there.
All right, buddy, bring her on home. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for talking to us.
Hey, Greg Irwin, Andy Petrie. Got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4, Andy.
Hey, Greg, what kind of options do you have here to fix Greg up here? He's talking about his car being loose, and are you going to plan on the track getting tighter, or you guys going to really go to work on this thing?
We can't afford to drop back any further than we are right now, so we're going to it there. We got some left rear air pressure. I've been working that track bar down a little bit for him. Hit the wedge a little bit that time. Kind of holding off on any kind of rubbers in the left rear. Don't want to give up too much track position right now.
Yeah, 10-4, Greg. Good luck, guys.
Thanks, Andy.
Time now to reveal the results from our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge. At the beginning of the day, we ask you which on-the-bubble driver will make the chase. So you guys want to hazard a guess? Kurt Busch, Ryan Newman, Earnhardt Jr., Greg Biffle?
I've got to go with C, Earnhardt Jr., because he's the most popular driver amongst the fans. They generally vote for the most popular guy. Let's see what happens.
I go for Kurt Busch because he's already there.
Let's see what the fans voted for. And, Earnhardt Jr., 58%.
That's almost funny. You knew that was going to happen, didn't you?
Yeah, that's why I had him wipe it off of there real quick.
All you got to do is look out the back here. Look out the back here at the merchandise trailer. He's got a line that's 2 miles long. Got to tell you right there.
Here we see these guys under the hood of the 41 car. This is looking like they're working on a fuel line. Actually taking changing carburetors. Wow. That's unusual to do that under a pit stop. Must have some kind of problem with the carburetor, or thinking maybe they got trash in it. You see the guys just hooking all the lines back up and all the nuts and bolts to hold the carburetor. This is a good shot here from our crew cam.
Yeah, that's very unusual to have a carburetor change nowadays. That used to happen a long time ago, but evidently maybe some dirt in the jets or dirt somewhere causing the engine to miss, and this could be just a shot in the dark to try something too. Dave?
Rusty, you hit it right on the head. They have been suffering from the start of the race today. Reed Sorensen radioing the crew, man, the balance is good. I just have no power. We need to change something, and this is where they're starting.
Well, that's a good place to start.
They are hustling, trying to get him back out because the pace car is in, and we are set to go to the green flag. It'll be lap 92, 8 laps away from the halfway point here at Michigan. For you Reed Sorensen fans, the 41 car did indeed make it out of the pits. So good work for the crew down there on that effort. 5 wide at Michigan, a track known for having a lot of room to race and a lot of room to get in trouble. Russ, you guys can go all over the place here.
Oh, that's 5 wide race there. David Reagan had that right rear quarter panel laid right dead against the wall. And look at this, Harvick and Montoya, the two guys that really don't get along too well out there racing side by side right now.
Harvick the 29 going by Montoya the 42. Remember the confrontation they had at Watkins Glen, grabbing helmets and uniforms last week, and Harvick makes the pass.
But I must say too that two of the best drivers out there, really great drivers.
Trouble off the turn 55. Michael Waltrip across the racetrack. Great effort by Ryan Newman to get by. Oh!
Out there, boys.
They almost all got by there. Looked like maybe it was Joe Nemechek caught the left front of the 55 of Michael Waltrip.
And Nemechek couldn't see the smoke was there, and he was the last guy in and just couldn't get away from it. Unbelievable job for everybody missing that spin of Michael Waltrip. Got to hate it for Michael. Had a great car today, qualified well, made the race, and it all ends in a big crash.
Michael's best start of the year.
Go to the garage area. Let's get ready.
Best qualifying start of the year, 11th here. His best finish of the year thus far came here back in June when he finished 10th, hoping to get another top 10. Let's show you what happened here just a moment ago.
And I had it saved, and somebody hit.
Got some good tight racing going on right here, and looks like he just got loose.
He got loose when the 43 got along this right side of him. It looks like, Andy, looks like he had to check up to keep from hitting the guys in the back, and then that 43 got so close, and that is such a vulnerable position to be in. You can get really loose in that area, and Michael did. Let's ride along and see what happens here.
Looking back outside, the 43 outside.
Almost like that 43 car just sucked Michael around.
That's what it appeared.
Hold the brake, now go.
Mike's in good shape now, but all of a sudden. Let's take a look at another angle here. See what happens here. Michael's got to get out of the throttle there. He loses his momentum, and when he gets out of the throttle, it turns sideways as a 43 drives by, and he's in a real bad position now for downforce on the car.
Wow, Harvick just missed Michael Waltrip right there. And he's right there in that 10th spot in points coming into this race, and he couldn't afford to wreck right there, but he just misses Michael. Joe Nemechek not so lucky.
Greg Biffle, our in-race reporter, watch him dodge this melee.
Coming backwards in the middle lane here, no pressure. You're still all clear. Hurry, hurry, you're good. Spin behind you.
I tell you, one of the most impressive drivers I saw there also is David Reagan. Good heads up. He was 3 wide coming off of turn 2. He saw it happen, jumped out of the throttle, moved to the bottom. Good job for Reagan.
Caution flag being shown at Michigan for the 4th time today, coming out on lap 93. Trouble in the turn. A Toyota of Michael Waltrip spins. Almost everyone gets by, and Joe Nemechek just can't quite get by. They have contact. Back with a green flag at Michigan in just a moment. This telecast is available on ESPN2 HD, presented by DirecTV. Under caution here for the 4th time today. Brought on lap 93. Michael Waltrip spin, collecting the 08 of Joe Nemechek. Nice moves by the 12 car of Ryan Newman and the 29 of Kevin Harvick to miss that. Those two drivers 13th and 10th in the points. It could surely have impacted their race to the chase had they been caught up in the spin there by Michael. Here's a look at our lap leaders after 97 of 200 laps, presented by Ford. Jeff Gordon has led the most laps, led early on. Matt Kenseth, our current leader. Greg Biffle, who sat on the outside front row. Jimmy Johnson, Brian Vickers in the Toyota, and Robbie Gordon, who stayed out on lap 30 when everyone came on for that competition yellow and led a couple of laps.
That really cost Robbie Gordon that when he didn't pit under that first caution period. Now he's back there about 33rd spot, a lap down.
Robbie had a really fast car too. He looked good early. I know he's kicking himself right now and he feels bad for his team, but you know, sometimes you make a decision, you got to live with it, and he really felt like he can maybe stay out there and run up front and maybe hope for another caution, but it just didn't work out. Just did not work out.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. started shotgun on the field today. He was one of the 4 cars that had to go to the back of the field and start toward the rear because of a transmission difficulty. He has now moved all the way up to 7th position. So if you take a look at the points as of right now, Earnhardt Jr. would move up into 13th and be shown 124 points back of Kurt Busch, who is currently 2nd in the running order.
Yeah, and they were 100 points away from each other going into it. And that's a difference right there, Jerry. Kurt's in 2nd and Junior's in 7th. He just gained another 24 points on him. But they're definitely in each other's gun sights for sure.
Let's check in the Dave Blaney pits with Allen.
Yeah, Doc, we've been talking about the race within a race to make the chase for the Nextel Cup. There's also another race for drivers trying to be in the top 35 in owner points. The top 35 teams in owner points are guaranteed a starting spot in each week's race. Dave Blaney came into this race one place out of that guaranteed spot. His crew chief, Tom Baldwin Jr., told me they built a brand new car to come to this race. Blaney qualified 17th. He's running right now in the 11th spot on the racetrack. And the guy he's racing to get into that top 35 in owner points is Bill Elliott, who's back in 30th. So far, mission accomplished for the 22 team today. Mike?
Well, Alan, Ricky Rudd made some news this week when he announced that at season's end, he will retire. And that's a word he did not use at the end of 2005. At that time, you'll remember, he said he was just taking a break. He was asked why during a press conference this morning, and he said he knew the sport could live without him, but he wasn't sure if he could live without the sport. And he realized at the end of 2005, he should come, or 2006, I should say, that he wanted to come back. He hasn't closed the door yet. Although he says he is, quote unquote, retired, he said if a quality ride came to his doorstep and they wanted a driver full-time, he'd consider it.
And Mike had a conversation with Len Wood, one of the owners of the 21 car this morning, about the future of Bill Elliott in that car. He said, check with me at the end of the day. That meant if they have a good run today, they may put Ken Schrader in the car for Bristol. If they have not such a great run, you'll probably see Bill Elliott if they can get him back in the car another time. Again, that top 35 that Alan talked about, very important. They're in it today, but running back where they are, they might lose it.
Thank you very much, guys. Bill Elliott, by the way, there are 17 drivers in today's starting field who were not born yet when Bill Elliott ran his very first Nextel Cup race here in Michigan back in 1976. Been around a long time, making his 56th start here at this track today.
And Jerry, this 21 car is just all about getting the top 35 points, whatever it takes. Elliott or Schrader, they just got to get the top 35 and keep it there.
Coming back to the green flag, Kenseth will lead him down as the green flag waves here. We are 2 laps, make it 1 lap away from halfway. Across the top of your screen, the green on the driver's name indicates that they are in the chase. As of now, the yellow indicates they are on the bubble. Let's check in the garage area with Jamie Little.
Well, Doc, Michael Waltrip qualified 11th, his best effort in 2 seasons, but you're out early. Michael, what happened?
I just lost it, and as long as I slid, nobody hit me. I thought for sure no one was going to hit me, and then when I came off the wall, Joe hit me. So I didn't know which way my wheels were pointed. I'd done so much driving. I guess I sort of went to the left a little bit, but certainly thought there was time for everybody to get by. And almost everybody did. I think he was running last, and he finally got me.
Well, he was running top 10, but good news now for Toyota is Brian Vickers is top 3. Guys?
Thanks, Jamie. Lead change. Kurt Busch sails by for the first time today and will take the lead.
The 2.
Busch takes the lead over Kenseth. Dale Earnhardt Jr. also making his way to the front, guys. So Busch is already there, and Jr. now the highest he has been all day long, all the way up to 6th position.
He's chasing these guys in front of him and racing for 3rd spot. And the way Junior's car's been running, I'd expect him to get up there and dice with these guys.
And Brian Vickers working the top side of the track as they haul off down into turn 3 right now. That's where he's been running all day long, and he just feels really good up there. Gets a lot of momentum off that turn. It looks like Jeff Gordon thought about making it 3 wide. Got a little wide here, got back in line.
Points are so important, and if you lead a single lap, you get 5 bonus points. Those are very important for Kurt Busch right now, trying to hang on to one of those top 12 positions with just 3 races remaining in the race to the chase after today.
Guys, you really got to handle to Kurt Busch and Pat Trice and that whole Miller Lite team. Penske Racing, all that, they have been consistent the last 4 or 5 races. And here at Michigan today, I talked to Pat Trice, and he thinks he's had a really good car. They're really happy with the practice, and it's showing right now. You know, we talked a lot also about the horsepower under the hood of that 2 car. That Penske engine department is just unbelievable, making a lot of power.
Moments ago, we saw the 2 car be able to make a pass on the 17. How does that work with a return to airflow? Here's a classic pass with the ESPN draft track.
The 2 car pulls up into turbulent air with all the air pockets, making it easier. He gets up, he loses the front end now, Andy.
And right now, he gets that, see that blue air getting on the hood of that car and pushing that car down, making downforce, makes him get just a little extra grip and able to clear Matt Kenseth.
We've had a lot of people say, what's all that animated air we're trying to show draft tracks? It really shows what's going on. Now here comes Kenseth back up underneath them, and looks like they're going to put a race on just like the 83 car did earlier in the race. Back and forth, back and forth. We saw this happen in the Busch race also with Denny Hamlin.
So these teammates right here, the 48 and 24, racing for 3rd spot. Jeff Gordon using the bottom of the racetrack. Looks like he might get, yeah, he'll get Jimmy Johnson cleared right here. Off turn 2.
That's 3rd and 4th. 5th is the 83 of Brian Vickers, a Toyota, and 6th now Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Chevy. Riding along with Dale Jr., watching the back of the Toyota of Brian Vickers, still wiggling when he gets in the corner.
Yeah, Vickers, he's just real loose. He's been that way all day long. And Dale Jr.'s been working the top side of the track. Well, that lap before, he went all the way to the bottom to try to pass Brian. Couldn't put it off. But look at the draft, guys. Look how he's pulling right up behind him. 207 miles an hour going into turn 1 because of the draft.
That's the fastest speed we've seen on any of these cars getting into turn 1. And it seems like it takes Brian Vickers' car and his setup of, 10 or 12 laps under green before everything starts kind of evening out for him. He can move up to the top and really start coming to the front.
You know, one crazy thing about this race, I've talked to a lot of drivers about practice, and even the Busch race, and they said, Rusty, this race usually tightens up. If they start out loose, the cars that tighten up, but they haven't been tightening up. They've been loose the whole time, so pretty peculiar. Whoa!
Yeah, we just heard Dale Earnhardt Jr. just have to pedal the throttle right there. It must have been because Denny Hamlin was up underneath the back end, making him get loose.
Denny Hamlin just pulled right up in front of him, Rusty.
Well, he just sliced right across his nose, Jerry. That was about as close as I wanted to be, that's for sure, because it looked like he was just getting ready to knock the nose right off of Dale Earnhardt Jr. on that one. But if you don't clear him, if you don't take advantage and clear a driver off of turn 4, then you have to race him all the way around the racetrack and get back to turn 4 to get that momentum to do it again.
Back up front, the front twosome. Kenseth trying to hold off Kurt Busch. Busch had made the pass on Matt Kenseth. And then Kansas uses the same air we showed you a little bit ago with the draft tracks to be able to use the draft and get by again. Here comes Kurt Busch on the inside, on the bottom of the racetrack.
Well, it looks like these two are going to go at it for a couple laps before the tires settle in on Matt Kenseth's car or Kurt Busch's car. The chassis on either one of these cars is going to go a certain direction, which is finally going to start splitting them apart here. The car's going to handle different. One's going to be better than the other, what I'm trying to say. And Kurt Busch likes that bottom now. Runs it hard through the center of the corner, and Pitt stays in the throttle and clears them coming off of 4.
We saw the 24 car on pit road earlier, and these guys, they had 2 wrenches in both sides of that car. They were making big chassis adjustments. Looks like it's paid off. He's running 3rd spot right here, and I was watching some of his lap times. He's actually, that last lap was faster than these leaders. I know these leaders were racing each other, but Jeff's coming to the front here.
Jeff Gordon had complained that this is as tight a race car as he had ever driven at Michigan. And Andy, you said they made some significant changes. By the way, if you just joined our coverage, Steve Letarte, the crew chief for Gordon, back on the pit box. They've adjusted on that 24 car and has gotten much, much better trying to reel in the twosome up front. It is Vickers, Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Matt Kenseth, and Kurt Busch for the first time today, showing at the front of the field here at Michigan International Speedway. Welcome back to the 3M Performance 400 NASCAR Nextel Cup race at Michigan International Speedway. Unseasonably cool here after 2 days of rain. The temperature is starting to come up a little bit, but still cooler than it has been all weekend here when these guys qualified and practiced on Friday and Saturday.
Big surprise I'm seeing is the crowd. We got a big crowd here again. I mean, you would think Tuesday everybody'd be at work, but there's some, you see right there in the shot, the turn 3 is a little empty, but the grandstands in the front straightaway, a lot of people here today, guys. Got to thank those fans for coming by. Take a look at that. Just unbelievable how many people showed up and stuck through the mud and the rain and the water to be with everybody here at Michigan today. Pretty cool.
I heard a big scream go up there at halfway, though, and I thought it was the fans, but it was actually the guys on pit road. Just glad we finally got this race past halfway.
Oh, you got that right, Andy. That's for sure.
Kurt Busch is our leader. They've been swapping back and forth between him and the 17 car of Matt Kenseth. For more on Matt, let's check in with Mike.
Well, you know, Doc, since year 2000, no driver has more top 5s and top 10s at 2-mile tracks than Matt Kenseth. And it doesn't appear that his car is any less strong today than it has been in years past. Let's listen in.
So, Mighty, I'm up. What up, Bush? I'm talking to him about it here. I'm not worried about that. Just leave that alone here. We'll wear him down with this something else.
Heard Matt Kenseth talking about Kurt Busch. They were racing pretty hard for the lead and looked like having fun. And he says, don't worry about it. I'll just sit here and wear him down a little bit. Go back in that Matt Kenseth conservative mode.
That's from Matt Kenseth Radio. Let's bring you up to speed on what's happening with the front runners, starting with the 2 car. Jamie?
And Kurt Busch has been on a march to the front. He started 15th. His car has been loose, but that last pit stop, they kind of went back on the air pressure they had taken out before that. So right now, Kurt Busch in the 1st spot has no idea where his contenders and the points are running right now because he wants it that way. Mike?
Jamie, we just talked about Matt Kenseth's statistics at 2-mile racetracks, so it's no surprise that he's running as well as he is here today. Second, his only victory of the year came at this track's sister track in Fontana, California. Trying to duplicate that and get back to victory lane today, Matt Kenseth runs 2nd.
Jeff Gordon's crew chief, Steve Letarte, called his setup for this car today his 6-week dream. Remember Letarte back at the racetrack for the first time after a 6-week suspension. Jeff Gordon complained for most of the first part of the race about his car not rotating in the center of the corner. He says it's doing just fine there by now, just needs a little help off the corner, Jamie.
Alan, that chemistry is back with the 48 team. Shaq Knaus making the calls for Jimmy Johnson, talking him through the track. They've been great all day. They started 7th, running 4th right now. He said the car needs a little more rear grip, so they're messing with those air pressures each stop. Alan?
Denny Hamlin came into into today's race, second in points, and will likely clinch his place in the chase today. He's running fifth now, racing for that spot with Brian Vickers. Hamlin's team is telling him this weekend, let us take the chances on strategy in the pits, but don't take a chance on wrecking the race car on the track and putting us behind for the championship run, Dave.
Right behind him, Alan, crew chief Doug Richard radioed to Brian Vickers, asked him if that car still felt loose, and Brian said, yes, it does. They tried to encourage him by saying the cars in front of him were short run cars. They were better now, but they would come back to him. But so far, 3 have gotten by, and he hasn't gotten back by any of them. Right behind him, Kyle Busch, a pretty good run today. That car, according to crew chief Alan Gustafson, probably a top 10 car today. He's got it squarely within that right now. Kyle's been fighting just a little bit, a tight condition on that car, but so far, so good for the 5. Mike?
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. racing for his playoff life right now, all the way up to 8th position. Says the car not quite perfect, though, a little tight in the center, and he can't get his right rear underneath him. He's still looking for some more grip. Meanwhile, the 20 car of Tony Stewart continues to make his move to the front. He came from the 35th starting position. Feels pretty good about his car right now. Talking with his crew chief before the race, Greg Zipadelli, he says the 24 car is still the car they want to be seated ahead of once the chase begins, because he does not see a flaw. If he's going to track down the 24 and get some more bonus points today, he's got some work to do. Jamie?
And right behind him is Carl Edwards. It seems like a week ago, but Saturday he was the fastest in both practices. He has a brand new car here. It's not the same car he won here 2 months ago with, and that was his crew chief Bob Osborne's call. The car has been good as Carl takes a look around. You guys mentioned the fans. Carl took notice and he said, man, we have some great fans in NASCAR.
Great information, guys. Thanks for the updates on the lead cars. Now, just moments ago, we had a position change for second. Watch this move by the 24 car.
Well, he just had a lot of momentum coming on that back straightaway and just blew past him and cleared. That was just a classic pace pass right there, guys. No problem at all getting around him. Hey, take a look at the left rear quarter panel of the 24 Jeff Gordon. Chevrolet's got this new 57 Chevrolet program going on, Jerry, and we see a lot of the Chevrolets with this paint scheme on their cars.
Let's listen in to Matt Kenseth radio.
Like on TV, maybe that left or that right front fender snacks in just a little bit. Brooks, make sure you get it turned out on the next stop. Yeah, get the best look you can at it, Robbie. Even if we lose track position, we need to fix it. I can't win like this, so we need to fix it no matter what.
Yeah, those fenders really, I mean, without those fenders being exactly right, they lose a lot of downforce. And you hear Matt saying, I can't win like this. You guys are going to have to take the time to go ahead and fix the fender where he's got it knocked in. Even just a little bit of that would hurt the car quite a bit, and, Matt needs some help.
Lap intervals behind the leader. You see how he's just continued to lose distance to the leader there, currently back in third spot. For more information on pit stops and how all this was going to work with Matt Kenseth, you can log on to ESPN.com, search word safety. 78 laps to go here at Michigan International Speedway. Kurt Busch driving for Roger Penske, his Dodge, atop the leaderboard. Jeff Gordon, though, in hot pursuit. Welcome back to Michigan International Speedway. Laps clicking down. There's the leader flashing by. Busch, Gordon in second spot. Jeff Gordon, that is. Jimmy Johnson third. Matt Kenseth fourth. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. now being shown in the top 5 here with just 73 laps to go. Moments ago, Dale Earnhardt, you can't get much closer than this, guys.
Boy, right up against the wall, and take a look at this. I couldn't tell if he hit the wall or not because there was no marks, and Andy said, hey, I think there's some marks at the bottom.
I think he just polished the wall.
He didn't scrape the paint, he just polished it up right there, right behind the 5 of Kyle Busch.
The spotter's probably saying, don't go that high next time.
Yeah, let's give that wall just a little more respect.
Mike?
And Matt Kenseth on pit road. They'll pull away a little bit of the fender on the right side of the car, trying to get clearance there. That was one of Matt Kenseth's concerns, and one of the reasons why he's on pit road now. No chassis adjustments, 4 tires for Matt Kenseth. They clean the grill. He's away. We go to Allen.
And Denny Hamlin is in. 4-tire change, a little wedge adjustment. Biggest factor here, get that thing full of fuel in case this becomes an economy run later on.
24 coming down pit road, Jeff Gordon, who was being shown in second position. The 28 is already in 48, Jamie.
That's right, Jimmy Johnson came in, his car's actually getting tight. He was loose all morning. They're going down on that track bar and making another air pressure adjustment. That seems to be the theme for the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. He's down and away. Alan?
And Jeff Gordon has pitted his car, really coming alive this last run of the race. They're going to make another adjustment to try and help it for this finishing run of the race, especially if he gets out in clean air, clean stuff for the 2014.
These are scheduled pit stops here, and this track has a history of being a fuel mileage racetrack. Let's go back to Jamie.
And Kurt Busch, your leader, is in. No adjustments. He's that happy with the car. They're going to do 4 tires, full fuel. Remember, our last super speedway, Pocono, this man dominated and brought it home to victory lane. Guys.
Great pit work from the...
All these cars now are in that window where they can just make one more stop and make it to the end of the race. Here's Greg Biffle. Dave?
And they talked about taking a spring rubber out of the right rear. Car's still a little bit loose for Greg right now. They said I'd rather do it during a green flag run than under yellow. They don't do it. They will make a wedge and an air pressure adjustment to help Greg's number 16 car. Again, loose means it wants to spin out in the corner. That's a feeling you got to have some of, but you don't want too much of. Greg had a little too much. Mike?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. doing a little bit of point racing. Normally he would have come down pit road a lap earlier, but he stayed out to lead a lap to get some bonus points. A 4-tire change expected on Junior's car right now as they swing around to the left side. No adjustments. They feel like they've got a very strong race car right now, one of the fastest ones out there. Alan.
Camera. And Bobby Labonte is coming down pit road through the attention of the Petty crew. Bobby's been fighting his car, feeling like it's on top of the racetrack, meaning like he's not really getting any grip out of all 4 tires. Bobby's got a new crew chief this week. Doug Randolph is now heading up the operation of this 43 car. Labonte started up the front of the field, but they have slipped back in traffic, and really being back in that dirty air hasn't had a very good time of it with this car so far.
Bobby Labonte, 3-time winner here. And he won both of them here back in 1995. Last driver to sweep them both in a single season. And Ward Burton, by the way, a good run for Ward Burton, the 4 car, the Morgan LeClure machine out of Abingdon, Virginia. Being shown as our leader here with just 68 laps to go.
Shark fin on the left rear window came loose. Everything is cool.
Right now, NASCAR will be taking a look at that fin on the left rear window. They put that in there for a reason, Andy, to keep these cars if they get sideways.
Yeah, that's a safety feature NASCAR requires these cars to have in case they get sideways. It actually spoils some of the airflow over the car to keep the cars from flying up in the air when they turn around backwards. But it's still on there. It's just like it's moved sideways a little bit.
It's not an issue, a safety issue. There is one more bolt that holds that with a locking nut that's on that bolt, so it won't vibrate loose, but for some reason the top bolt has failed and the second one is holding it right now, and if it stays there, I don't think NASCAR have a problem with that.
Ryan Newman, who was 13th in the points coming into today, now back to 14th and having some issues here as he tries to make his way back toward the front. The 4 car, Ward Burton up front right now, Dave.
Yeah, Jerry, they topped off before we went back to green that last time, so they'll get a few more laps on fuel. Chance for Ward to stay out just a little bit. In the next lap, he'll be down pit road to refill that 4 car.
Looked like he had about 8 more laps there. He pitted with 8 laps less than these other guys, so he's got a little extra fuel. He can run a few more, and then he'll have to get in and get some fuel. Looks like he's coming now.
Great to see Ward Burton, veteran NASCAR Nextel Cup driver, back at the head of the field where we saw him for so many years. The former Daytona 500 winner being shown as the leader here at Michigan. And now he will slow and head to pit road. Tries to get it down to 55 miles an hour so he doesn't get a speeding penalty. Wants to get another top 10 finish. Had a great run in this car at Indianapolis Motor Speedway back at the beginning of the month.
Chris Carrier's crew chief on this car. We see him coming around for 4 tires. See pulling the windshield tear off there so Ward can see a little bit better. Wow, I see some cords on that right front tire. Looks like he can run that thing just about to the end.
He needed to get this car down pit road because he was losing. He was leading the race, but he was losing a lot of speed to the leaders. The other leaders, they're leading the race right now with 4 fresh tires. Out there with little tires, you lose a lot of ground.
With all the pit stops having recycled, Ward Burton now exiting the pits. That guy right there being shown at the head of the class again. The 2 car for Kurt Busch.
There's our crew cam. We see David Reagan coming in. This is our crew guy pulling that windshield tear off there. Makes it just like a brand new windshield.
That is Justin Hines out of Garden City, Michigan, pulling that windshield tear off. Great pit work down in the Roush Fenway pits. Back in Michigan, for those of you who just joined our coverage, we'll update what's happened thus far with our McDonald's race rundown. Early on, lap 14, Juan Pablo Montoya spins, as does Chad McCumbee in the 45, and Joe Nemechek. Good news, Montoya didn't hit anything. Back at it. On the bubble, came in today, 12th position, Kurt Busch, but he was on his way to the front, and he makes that pass right there on the 17 car to take the lead earlier in the afternoon. How about dodging the bullets? The 29 car of Harvick, the 12 of Newman. That happened on lap 93 when this car, the 55 of Michael Waltrip, who was having a great run here, spun out coming off the turn, thought he was going to be able to get away unscathed, but then got tagged by the 08 of Joe Nemechek. That brings us back to 59 laps to go here, and Kurt Busch has led 3 times for 32 laps, trying to pick up his second win here in 2007.
Well, this particular race is starting to look reminiscent of Pocono, where Kurt Busch had such a big lead, but Jeff Gordon, that last time by, guys, he ran about 1/10 of a second faster than Kurt did, and this time by about 2/10 of a second faster than Kurt Busch did, so he's really running him down right now.
I'm really impressed with the way that two-car team has responded to the pressure of being in this chase. After being out of the chase and below the bubble, now these guys have just raced their way back in and hadn't missed a lick.
Well, it's real crystal clear to me that Pat Trice has definitely helped this team. They've calmed Kurt down. They've got the cars handling good right now. And that car that Pat Trison had at Pocono, he really had a lot of input. And this particular car that Kurt's driving does also.
Kurt Busch has already gotten 5 bonus points for leading a single lap. He could get 5 more if he could lead the most laps. So let's see how he's done thus far. Let's take a look at our lap leaders. After 143 of 200 laps presented by Ford, Kurt Busch now has officially led the most laps. Matt Kenseth back in the 6th position right now, being shown with 31 laps. Jeff Gordon, Greg Biffle, Jimmy Johnson, Brian Vickers. See, Ward Burton led 4 laps, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., by the way, has led a lap. So he will get 5 bonus points for leading a lap here today. Now, the points penalties certainly have had their effect on these drivers now as we begin to move in on the race to the chase, just 3 races remaining.
100 points is a huge penalty, especially when these guys are right there on the bubble. See, Junior got a 100-point penalty earlier, so did Kurt Busch. You see where these guys would be a spot ahead of where they are now had it not been for that 100-point.
And one thing we haven't been talking about much either is how much money it's cost them. Right now, the penalties are close to $1 million. In fact, they're just about over $1 million in penalties right now that these guys have been charged for. So a lot of that money's gathering up right now, and I'm politicking to try to get that money to the NASCAR Foundation for charity. I think there's a lot of charitable organizations that could use that money, so you never know.
J.J. Yaley, who had some unfinished business to take care of when he came to Michigan here this time. He set on the pole here back in June, his first pole in NASCAR Nextel Cup, and was hoping to get a top 10. 18 car that will be driven next year by Kyle Busch, being shown in the 27th position. More on the 18th with Alan Bestwick.
Yeah, unfortunately, Doc, this is not the same car that they qualified on the pole here in June with. That car was wrecked at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway at the end of last month. So this is a little bit of a different car. JJ struggled a lot in that race and said that he would trade that pole-winning car for one that was a top 5 handling car. They don't have it today. You see he's running in 27th spot.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. had some anxious moments just about a second ago as the got out of shape here in the 8 car.
Well, I just knocked the fence down.
Working the top side of turn 4 and just got loose again. We saw him earlier where he had the right front into it, Andy. You know, he barely scraped it. And you and I both said, man, he better not do that again. He started to run out of bullets there.
One of the problems with running that high is you don't have a lot of room to chase the car when you're running just inches away from the wall. That happens just in the middle of the track or on the bottom of the track. You got plenty of room to kind of chase it, but when you're that close, there's just no room to chase the car.
You know, Richard Petty used to tell us, we used to ask Richard, why do you run that high, Richard? He says, because I blow a tire out, I don't have that much room to slide, it won't hurt as much. But I don't think that's the reason Dale Earnhardt Jr. is running that high.
Looks secure.
Let's ride along with our Wrangler telemetry here with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jumping back into that throttle, gets back up. RPMs climb back up, and
When I get past, so we'll try to make a lot of work. Still doing okay down there, a little right to center. You still got about 2 tenths cushion right now on the bottom, so we'll just stay there until that goes away.
See his foot on the brake pedal right there, Rusty. See, he's putting his left foot on the brake, and it's a lot more. They're out of the throttle a lot more and on the brakes more than I would expect at a track this size.
That's right, Andy. That is exactly right. But another thing to look at Dale Jr.'s eyes. He is so focused right now. I mean, he's not blinking at all. He's dead focused, and he just told us that he's working the racetrack now. Now he's working the bottom, the middle, the top. He's trying to find a position on this track where his car would be the happiest. But he still keeps flirting with the exit of turn 4, and I really think if he keeps it up, he's going to bite him. Mike?
Well, Rusty, the pressure to make the chase has created such a situation for this team that every moment on the racetrack counts. What I'm referring to is a Pocono practice where they were actually practicing for this particular race. Tony Eury Jr. told me a couple of weeks ago that during their Pocono practice, they strapped on some shocks that they wanted to use here. They wanted to get a good idea of what the right setup was here, but obviously with so little time left before the chase begins, they want to take advantage of every practice lap they get.
Well, a lot of times the shock absorbers at Pocono and shock absorbers here at Michigan are very close. You're trying to keep the front end pulled down low to the ground at Pocono, and it's the same thing you try to do there. But here I just watched Dale Earnhardt Jr. get in a corner, and the whole car went in this long slide, Andy, and it looks like neither end of the car is working as to his liking.
He's really pushing the car hard. He's running in 5th spot. He's in the top 5. He's really pushing the car hard. You see he's just all up on the steering wheel, car sliding around. You can see him turn the steering wheel to the right to catch it.
As you watch his eyes a moment ago, you focused on the fact that how much he's concentrating. It's almost like he was afraid to take a deep breath, and he finally looked up at the rearview mirror and took a breath and went back down to the steering wheel. I mean, you are totally focused. You're totally one with that race car at this point in time with 50 laps to go.
No, you're
working right there.
You're exactly right. Now you hear a spotter come across. Stay working right there. And Junior's working all around this track, and he is very, very focused right now. It's fun to watch him now because you see the intensity in his eyes, and he's working that top lane and the bottom. Something cool to watch. You know, we generally don't get to see this, and he's really amped up. He is focused. He wants to catch that 2 car.
High definition onboard cameras giving you great shots inside these cars. And here's the guy he's chasing, not only on the racetrack, but in the points. Kurt Busch has led 43 laps and continues to lead with just 48 laps to go. Next week, we head to the Bristol Motor Speedway, known as the world's fastest half mile. Friday night, the NASCAR Busch Series hits the brand new concrete surface, 7:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2. Then Saturday night, it's one of the toughest tickets in all of NASCAR. NASCAR Nextel Cup Series takes on the 36-degree bank turn under the lights, 7:30 Eastern Time on ESPN. This 2-car has won a lot of races, and a lot of times over the years we've seen this car number 2 for Roger Penske go to victory lane at Bristol, Tennessee. Many times when I walked into victory lane, it was old Rusty Wallace climbing out to say congratulations on a win.
Oh, man, that's fun times there. I can't wait to get to Bristol. I'm excited about it. Brand new track, multi-groove banking there, about 25 degrees in the bottom, 27 in the middle, 30 up top. Guaranteed to run 2 wide nowadays at Bristol, and that's never happened before much. Take a look at Tony Stewart. Right now, Tony's in the 9th position. He's running down the 83 car of Brian Vickers. We haven't talked much about Tony all day long, but it just hasn't had his car where it needs to be. He's been about 0.2 of a second off the leaders all day long, but it's starting to get better now.
And now here comes Carl Edwards in the 99 car. He's had some of the faster laps on the board. Been watching him come up since this last pit stop. Looks like these guys got this car tuned up pretty good.
Behind him, the 1 car, another driver trying to hang on to a spot in the chase. And based on where Martin Truex Jr. is running now, he has actually lost a spot in the points, now being shown at this point in this race back in 12th position, because the guy who was in 12th is our leader. Top of your screen, a ticker across the top shows you the yellow names. Those are the ones that are on the bubble. The ones that are in green are the ones that are in the chase as of right now.
Kurt Busch is doing exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to get out of that 12th position and get himself up in the 10th or 11th, so he's not hanging on for dear life. Now he's done a pretty good job right now. He's got about 3 points on Martin Truex. That's all he's got on him, but he is really quick. Jamie, you got more on the 2 car?
Well, I was talking to the crew chief, Pat Tryson, before this race, and I asked about the fuel mileage issue because last weekend after Watkins Glen, Kurt Busch, he was upset with the way that they ran. They had to pit when they were in 2nd position before the rest of the leaders. So this time around, I asked Pat, what is this situation going to be like for fuel mileage? And he said, you know, on these downforce tracks, we've got him beat. We're happy with the way things are looking. The engine shop obviously working hard to improve it. But Rusty, I want to know, how much was that actual driver last week? How much did that have to do with Kurt Busch and the fuel mileage last week versus this week?
But Jamie, I really don't think the driver had much to do with hurting the fuel mileage at all at Watkins Glen. There's a lot of different games you can play at Watkins Glen, short pitting, running long, things like that, that played into that decision Pat Tryson made to where they finished. Now today, Andy, you can probably tell everybody better about what fuel mileage does to you here and how much easier it is.
The one thing about fuel mileage here, though, it is a little bit driver dependent, because the last race I went to Victory Lane here at Michigan was with Harry Gant, and he didn't even touch that brake pedal, and it just made you get a lot better gas mileage than some of these guys that really use the brakes.
The 24 car of Jeff Gordon. We showed you the shark fin, the air deflector on the rear window a little bit ago was loose on another car. It's also moved around on the 24 car. Alan?
And NASCAR has asked the 24 team to fix that on their next pit stop, which, if it's a stop under green, could be very costly for a team that's running so high in the race in 2nd place. But Steve Letarte, the crew chief, has been roaming around the pit stall for about the last 5 minutes, talking to his over-the-wall guys, making a plan, discussing that plan with the NASCAR officials in his pit to make sure that they won't violate any other rules as far as what certain men are allowed to do and not allowed to do on a pit stop. So when the 24 car comes in, watch for them to try and address that situation with the shark fin on that back glass. And again, it could be on a green flag pit stop very, very soon.
Thank you, Alan. We are being told that the 24 and the 12 of Ryan Newman will both be asked to attempt to fix this on the next pit stop. Now, if they cannot fix it, they will not be black flagged, we are being told by NASCAR, because they are making an attempt to fix it. They don't want to penalize these teams, but they are going to try, and they've been told they'll have an official there that they're going to try to fix the 24 car and the 12 car. Ryan Newman, by the way, who came into today 13th in the points on the edge of making the chase.
But Jerry, you got to commend NASCAR. You got to thank NASCAR for not black flagging these guys right now, because there is one more bolt holding those shark fins on the 12 car, Ryan Newman, and the 24. Now, Andy, if they try to tape it down, will that be enough to hold it?
Yeah, maybe it would hold it, but I think if it just stays like it is, they'll be okay if they make one good faith attempt at trying to fix it. Here's Brian Vickers to make his last stop. We're inside the window, making it to the end of the race here. And we're down to
Andy, it's going to be a little close for these guys based on their last trip and their last segment that they ran under fuel. And they also haven't really improved this race car, still mostly loose, but Doug Richards is going to make a little bit different change this time. He's going to take air pressure out of the right front. He's going to add wedge into the right rear and try to get this car right for Brian. It just hasn't been good since about the middle, or about the first third of this race for the 83 bunch. Bigger change this time for Vickers.
One of the problems with fuel mileage is Brian Vickers has been running all the way up against the wall, and that really does hurt your mileage. You have to run actually a further distance if you run that outside lane, and that's pushing his fuel mileage to, right, like you said, Dave, right at the limit.
And Rusty changes air pressure out of the front and adding wedge in the right rear. What are they trying to do for Brian?
Well, right now the car is probably feeling to the driver like the right rear is kind of up on the car. It's not down in the racetrack. So I just noticed they put one round of wedge in it. And they did that by taking a round out of the right rear. I noticed they didn't go to a track bar. They went to the wedge, and that's going to settle that right rear down and get that car better in the corner and better off the corner with more bite, more aggressiveness, more grip, things like that. Whoa, locking the right front up. That could be a pit road speeding penalty if he can't get it slowed down.
Final pit stops for
strong quarter up, okay? Give me Hamlin.
Hamlin is in, Kenseth is in. Let's go down to Mike.
Matt Kenseth came over the radio just before this stop, Doc, and said he's a little bit too tight, mostly in the middle, and he said, unfortunately, that's exactly where he likes to run. They'll make a chassis adjustment and 4-tire change. Alan?
And you see Denny Hamlin is peeled off to make his final stop of the race. They're going to make an adjustment in that car as well and send him out. He's been running in the top 5, Mike.
And Kenseth a clean stop, and he's away, and that's exactly what he's looking for. He said before he came down pit road, let's make this quick, guys. Alan?
So Hamlin gone with a good efficient stop, which gives Jeff Gordon a clean window in and out of his pit box. The crew has that repair ready. We'll see him shortly.
Jeff Gordon's crew up on the pit wall, and here comes Gordon down pit road. Watch him. They're going to have to try to fix that fin on the back of the 24 car.
And watch the right rear, watch the gas bin. Now see the catch can man, he's reaching up, but he's got to keep his body in contact with that fuel can. There's the fuel man, Caleb Hurd, now going to try and stick that bolt inside on the spare piece they've attached to the car. Now put the second can of fuel in the car.
Pat it down, Jeff Knight. Pat it down.
Get one of the tire carriers to pat that piece down.
Easy, go on me.
And they had to wait and make sure they got it full of fuel. If that holds, that's great work.
Smoke out of the 15 car of Paul Menard. A number of cars have yet to make their final pit stop. And the 8 car backed up. He is all the way through his pits, Mike.
And Doc, he came in just too hot, overshot his pit. He'll back it back up. That's going to cost Dale Earnhardt Jr. some significant time. They had planned to make a wedge adjustment and a 4-tire change, but this is a costly mistake by the driver.
Here it is. Watch Earnhardt Jr. trying to get on the pit road, trying to hustle.
Get up. Back it up. Back up. Right there. Back up.
Jamie
And
Little.
your leader, Kurt Busch, is in, guys. Left and right side tires. No changes. He's out and away. It's another quick stop for your leader.
Everybody's making mistakes, but the 2 car of Kurt Busch didn't make any mistakes. A fast pit stop again. Jeff Gordon had to fix the Sharks fin in the back. You saw Dale Jr. slide through. A lot of action going on pit road that time. Now, one thing that might have worked out for the rest of the competitors, Andy, is that the 2 car stayed out a long time before he pitted and let the rest of those guys that just pitted gain some time on the track with those fresher tires.
You see Jeff Gordon's car here. I want to get a look and see if that fin is staying on there. Looks like it is, but it sure cost him a lot of time. You saw how the gas man was trying to put that piece on there. It was in the way of the left rear tire changer. Cost him some spots on the racetrack by taking a little extra time to fix that.
He just got locked in the middle exit in turn 2 right there, and that was a real tough spot for him because it makes the car so loose. So he backed out of the throttle, didn't press the issue. That helped him. Now, what is going on with these DEI engines?
Yeah, that's another DEI engine in the pits here. And what happened with Mark Martin's car was, we're saying it was the rear main seal started leaking oil. It looks like that's the exact same thing that's wrong with this car here with Paul Menard. Got a fire extinguisher there trying to make sure it doesn't flame up with all the oil on the headers and whatnot, just trying to assess what the problem is.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. had his 5th DNF of the season last week, the 4th due to engine issues, and now his teammate Paul Menard apparently having smoke coming from beneath the hood of his car.
Just a lot of issues here with these DEI engines, and I would really be worried about this if I was the 18.
And this car, number 12, will have to come on the pit road. He is being shown as our leader right now. That is Ryan Newman, and he will have to repair that shark fin or that air deflector on the rear window.
Now, I want to see the different approaches. It appeared to me they could have just took that shark fin. And it looks like they could have took the shark fin, just pulled it back around and taped it down or bolted it there, but the 24 elected to put a whole new fin on there.
I wasn't sure looking at the 24. Yeah, if he didn't have a problem with that, you know, if his fin wasn't completely gone already. But we see the 12 car has at least part of it there.
Take a look and see if the crew chief of this team orders the fin to be pulled around and put down a different way than Jeff Gordon did with his problem. Mike?
And Ryan Newman waited as long as he could, was waiting to see if a caution would come out. It didn't. He's on pit road trying to capitalize on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s mistake. He's the guy he's trying to hold off in this race for the chase. Car a little bit tight. They're going to try to free him up just a little bit. A wedge adjustment, 4-tire change for Ryan Newman. Off the jack, and yet to fire it up. And they're working on the fin, trying to make that repair right now. Pushing it back, trying to straighten it out. Newman on pit road still. This is a long time for the 12 car who was trying to capitalize on Dale Jr.'s mistake. But it seems like with the time he spent on pit road, it's a wash, guys.
Lost a ton of time trying to fix that car right there. That was not the way I would have done that. That's just, I would have probably taken some tape and tried to just make an attempt, because NASCAR already said that if you make an attempt and don't get it fixed, we're not going to black flag you. But that just took way too much time under green.
Well, just then he lost a position in the points by doing that way. He just did it. I mean, we know that the bare bond material that ties up, that really puts the front fenders together, probably been a strong enough choice to bring that shark fin down, but they didn't do that. Next time they'll think about that, and it just broke loose again just now, so the fix did not work.
Did not work for Ryan Newman, and that will move him back to 14th in the NASCAR Nextel Cup points if the race were to end right now, and he would lose that position from where he was running before. Here's the guy they've been chasing all day. Great run for the Penske crew, and Kurt Busch trying to get win number 2 after that dominating performance at Pocono, Pennsylvania. It has been an event-filled day here at Michigan. Close calls all afternoon, a couple of them on pit road. Just guys trying to get on and off. Another near miss there for the 19 of Elliott Sadler. Back with the final laps at Michigan in a moment. Back at Michigan under caution for the 5th time of day. Lap 175, debris on the racetrack. Points as they run right now. How do they sit? Jimmy Johnson would gain a couple of spots. You see Carl Edwards back. And down toward the all-important 12th spot, Kurt Busch up a spot. Martin Truex back 1, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. up to 13th. Has already gained a spot trying to hang on and get in the top 12. Pit stops are happening. Jamie Little.
And Jimmy Johnson came back in. You see them changing those right sides there. Car's good, and it's only a 2-tire stop for the 48. Mike.
Matt Kenseth down pit road. The radio conversation between him and Robbie Reiser before was a debate. 2 tires or 4, they went with 2.
2 right side tires for Kyle Busch as well. No changes to the chassis. Allen.
And after initially telling Denny Hamlin to stay out, they called him in. Right side tires and a splash of fuel.
Jeff Gordon, different options on whether you should come on the pit road or not. Now watch the 24 car here of Jeff Gordon.
See, he's lined up. He's coming down pit road. He's coming down pit road. No, he's going back on the racetrack.
Well, they got enough fuel to make it right now. 4 tires do a lot, so he's going to gamble right now. He's not going to win the race from where he's at because of the problem they had to do with the shark fin, so he's going for it, but staying out.
Looks like Kurt Busch stayed out also.
Kurt Busch would be shown as our leader. That would put Jeff Gordon currently in 2nd position and Dave Blaney in 3rd. Just 23 laps to go at Michigan. We'll settle it when we come back. We welcome you back to Brooklyn, Michigan. Closing laps here of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series event. Kurt Busch in a Dodge is our leader. Jeff Gordon in a Chevy 2nd, and Dave Blaney in a Toyota is 3rd. Well, there are different choices you have when you make a pass on a high-speed superspeedway like Michigan. Let's show you some of those choices and how it works with our draft tracks.
Now here's a classic way to pass. He's in the draft right now, the dirty air we talk about. It really got him going fast in the straightaway. Now I can't pass him in that stuff, so he's got to pull down, get back in that clean air, and look at me, he's in the throttle because the front end stuck so good in this car. He passed him, pulled right up in front of him. Now Brian Vickers, the same thing coming down the back straightaway.
Yeah, this is just a little different approach for Brian Vickers. He's been using that high line, but he still uses that draft to suck up on the straightaway, then gets that clean air, makes that car turn up there on the top, up against the wall. Clears 48 car Jimmy Johnson.
Now the 2-car Kurt Busch, a big run down the back straightaway in the draft, pulls back down to the bottom in that clean air, gets that car handling really good because of that, pulls up in front of the 17 car Matt Kenseth. And that's what it's all about. We talk a lot about this, but aerodynamics at this track is everything, and that's how you got to use it. Get that momentum into straightaway, and then get out of that dirty air. Get in that clean air. Make that pass. That's what you got to have, Jerry.
By using that momentum and making those passes, Kurt Busch has led the most laps today and locked up the 5 extra bonus points, so he will add 5 more to his tilt, trying to move up in the race for the chase. Green flag. Back at Michigan, it'll be just 20 laps to go here to the checkered flag. Kurt Busch leads him down. Jeff Gordon in second spot.
Lots of different strategies here. You got Kurt Busch and Jeff Gordon staying out. These other guys that pitted are stuck behind some of these other guys. It's going to take them a while to get clear of all these lap cars.
But most of the guys that pitted, Andy, have only got 2 tires, so they're not going to have as much grip as they generally had. It's going to be better, but getting stuck back in that traffic is stuff I hate. But Jeff Gordon's got that clean air, and so does Kurt Busch, and that's good.
These other guys are fighting a big mess of cars back here. You see these guys trying to work by the lap car. Greg Biffle's car wiggling right there with Robbie Gordon on his right rear.
And 3 wide, sometimes 4 wide off of turn 4.
20 car you see going by. There's Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car, back behind Boyer in the 07. And how about the guy who started on the front row, our in-race reporter, Dave?
Yeah, they stayed out this time, Doc. They were going to try. The fact that track position might mean more than adjustments at this point, and it doesn't look like it's working.
We just saw Greg Biffle get into turn 1, and just sparks were flying out from underneath that car. He's working the top side and never pass them like crazy. Those fresher tires on those other cars just got him on that one, guys. That staying out didn't work. Take a look at Newman. The battle of the shark fins, it looks like. One of them's missing one, and one of them's got one on there, so pretty good.
The only problem is Ryan Newman is a lap down. They took so long to fix that car into green that they lost a lap. So here Ryan Newman is just trying to fight his way back to the lead lap.
If we were to get a caution, he would be the lucky dog. But as you said, he is 21st right now. There are 20 cars on the lead lap with him, the first car a lap down, the 12 car we're talking about.
These guys that pitted are stuck back in all this traffic and not being able to do what they need to do to try to get to the front. We see Dale Earnhardt Jr. now running the bottom of the racetrack, where he's been right up next to the wall the whole race.
He's searching for grip, trying to find where that car is going to stick the best right now. He got off of turn 4 real good just then, and he got a big run down that front straightaway. Mired back in that traffic. When you're that far back in that traffic, and that happened because all the lap cars that were in the inside lane.
Yeah, he's 13th spot in the running order, but you got all these lap cars that line up on the inside, and it could actually make you line up 26 because you got all those guys, and makes that air real dirty.
Here's a battle for 4th position. Not much of a battle. Dave Blaney loses the spot as Danny Hamlin just blows by him in the 11 car, and here comes Jimmy Johnson.
I just wonder if these guys are going to have enough time with these tires to get back up there. Kurt Busch stayed out, and Jeff Gordon. But Jimmy Johnson's got tires. He got right side tires.
And that's a race for the 5th position right now. Johnson working the bottom. Looks like he's a little quicker.
24 car trying to hold on. We're checking his pitch with Allen.
Well, Rusty can relate to this. Jeff Gordon went down into turn 1 a lap ago, and the car jumped sideways on him so drastically he jumped on his team's radio, said we may have a cut tire. The crew jumped up on the wall, got ready to pit. He came back 3/4 of a lap later and explained it to the team. They've told him to feel it out and make sure, but for now he's trying to fend off Martin Truex for second.
Well, he feels like he's got a cut tire, Alan, because he doesn't have new tires on that thing. He's sliding all over the place, and he just got overhauled by Martin Truex in a 1 car, which, by the way, just had one of the fastest laps of the day. And he's probably the quickest car on the track right now over Kurt Busch, and Kurt Busch is holding on.
Here's the 11 car trying to get to the inside of the 24. 4th position, they wiggle, they almost touch, and the 48 is behind them. Great racing here in the final 15 laps. This is for 3rd position. Jeff Gordon, who did not pit, trying to hold on to the spot. Here comes Denny Hamlin, the 11 car, and Gordon's teammate Jimmy Johnson.
His time's running out, and these guys on these tires are trying to make the most of it.
Now, Kurt Busch has got a little bit of the track position. He's up front right now. He's sliding around a little bit himself, but Jeff Gordon, he's in big trouble right now. That no tire thing absolutely did not pay off for him, and he's sliding to the back. But Kurt Busch is just a 40.22 on speed. Martin Truex a 40.08, outrunning the heck out of him.
They're chasing Kurt Busch. 14 laps to go. We'll come back with the finish in a moment. Back at Michigan International Speedway, Jeff Gordon's car has spun and stuck in the wet grass and muddy area here in the along the front straightaway. Bring out caution number 6 on the day. Torrential rains the last 2 days couldn't get the car to move in the mud. Now safety crews are pushing him back on the racetrack.
All right. We don't want to pit you early because we don't want to start dead last. So come on. Tires still up.
Let's show you what happened here. Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, and the 17 of Matt Kenseth, nose to tail here, coming off of turn 4.
Matt Kenseth's just got a real fast car, and Jeff Gordon's trying to get out of the way, but Kenseth's got a big run, comes back up across in front of Matt Kenseth, gets himself spun out.
It looked to me like Jeff wanted to give it to him, but he just had to chase the car because it was loose, and just had to have that extra room and slid up in front of Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, Jeff said he was trying to pull down out of the way, but you can see that he was holding on for dear life there, Andy, and just working that car up the racetrack, and probably had no idea that Kenseth had that big a run on him.
Jeff Gordon, a remarkable history thus far in 22 events, 20 top 10 finishes, 4 wins. In the first 14 events of the year, hasn't won since June at Pocono.
But he can go home right now, Jerry, feeling comfortable because he's locked in the chase. This is just a setback for the team. He's locked into the top 12 because he's run so well.
NASCAR has told the teams, Andy, this is what they call a quickie yellow. What does that mean?
That means that any car can pit. Usually they let the lead lap cars pit first, wait a lap, then the lap down cars pit, but a quickie yellow lets everybody come on pit road at the same time with no penalty.
Mike?
Well, Ryan Newman on pit road trying to come in. Still a little bit of work to do on that car. 4-tire change. Ryan not real happy. Hasn't been happy all day long. Needs, says the car's just a little too tight. They're trying to freight it up right now. He's the free pass car, so they're trying to take a little bit more time here to make sure that car is a little bit better as they go to work again on that shark fin.
That hustle by Ryan Newman pays off, so he gets the free pass. Now gets back on the lead lap, and now Jeff Gordon trying to make his way back around with a flat left front tire.
And he's doing a good job, too, because, Jerry, if he goes much faster, that tire's probably going to come apart and tear that left front fender right off that car. Let's listen in.
You know, I was loose, and he had a run, and I was trying to get out of his way, but he didn't want to be patient enough for that.
Did he hit?
Hopefully they'll push you out here. We'll see what we get.
Kenseth. The bad news is that Jeff Gordon is a lap down now after getting stuck in the mud, and these guys are just going to try to ride it out here, see what they can get. Just a few laps left, 9 laps to go.
Alan?
And really given their position in the championship, an air of resignation about this day now. They were here to win. That's why they didn't pit under the previous caution. Steve Letarte, the crew chief, after they had to make the shark fin repair and the green flag stop, said we weren't going to win from 7th, so why not? They've already locked in their place in the chase, so they're going to go out there, make a few more laps, and see what they get at the end of the race, but certainly not take a chance on tearing anything more up with their position already secured in the championship. That's 2 weeks in a row now that something good has gotten away from Jeff Gordon and this team in the late laps.
Well, Alan, as you just said, they're still in good shape. They're locked into championship right now. If they learned anything out of the day's issue, that he got to figure out what's going on with these shark fins. These bolts are breaking and coming loose, and the 12 car had it happen, now the 24, and they can't have a problem like that happen again in this chase for the championship. So hey, they did learn something, and they're going to go home going, man, we had a good car, good top 5 car again, but couldn't do it.
The 1 car being shown in 2nd position, Martin Truex, driving for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, did not pit on that previous caution. He's one of the 4 cars that did not pit. And remember, Truex was trying to hang on to a position in the point standings. Coming in today, he was 11th in the points, trying to stay in front of Kurt Busch. And a few laps ago, he had actually dropped down to 12th. Now he is back up in 11th in front of Kurt Busch, despite the fact that Busch is the leader. Alan?
And don't forget, Doc, they started last today because they had a change in engine after Saturday's final practice. Raced their way up to about the 12th position. Couldn't quite crack the top 10. Then Kevin Manion, the crew chief, made the strategy call to stay out under that last caution to gain some track position. And now he's running 2nd.
And Alan, he had one of the fastest cars, if not the fastest car on the racetrack before that caution came out. So he may have something for Kurt Busch right here.
Martin Truex won his first ever NASCAR Nextel Cup race at Dover this year in his 58th career start. The best run he has had since Dover right now with just 8 laps to go. It is Dodge for Kurt Busch up front. Then comes the Chevy of the 1 car of Truex and the Chevrolet of the 48 of Jimmy Johnson.
Jerry, if he's going to get it done with 8 laps to go, he's probably going to have to go to the top side of the track. That seems to be the preferred place to pass right now. See what Truex does here.
See if a pair of Chevrolet drivers, actually 3 Chevrolet drivers together, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, can hook up and maybe go by. But no, Jimmy Johnson has better ideas. He's going to go downstairs and try to make a move on Truex.
This is all helping Kurt Busch with these guys getting side by side behind him. If they're going to have any chance of running him down, they need to line up.
Yeah, with 7 laps to go, Kurt Busch has got to be loving this right now. And now you see Denny Hamlin trying to make it 3 wide at the top of the track. He's going to carry a lot of momentum off of turn 4 and probably run right up on the bumper of the 48 of Jimmy Johnson.
Now they line up. Maybe Truex can run down Kurt Busch.
Jimmy broke Truex's momentum coming off of turn 2 in that restart. Now they've settled in. Now Truex has got Busch in his gun sights right now. Now can he run quicker? He's been running 0.2 of a second faster than Kurt Busch that last caution flag, but this last time by, it was the other way around. Kurt Busch just outrun Martin Truex by 0.2.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. right on the rear deck of Tony Stewart with his buddy. They're buddies, but right now they're competitors. Kyle Busch now trying to go downstairs and take the spot away. That is the 10th position.
Whoa, a little contact there. Kyle Busch gets up against Tony Stewart, his future teammate.
Bobby Labonte in the 43 car, driving for the King Richard Petty now sliding by the 20 car. That is for spots. That puts the 8 car in 9th spot and Bobby Labonte in 10th with just 5 laps to go.
Man, you got to get what you can get right now with only 5 laps to go. That's the reason they're getting so dicey. You see the hand signal of the 5 car to Tony Stewart, and that meant, I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry. Didn't mean for that to happen. Now he's going to go to the top side and try to work him there, but they're getting all they can, and they're future teammates, and so they're trying to work together.
Oh, Kyle Busch just about loses the car up against the wall there.
4 laps to go. These guys are mixing it up back in the pack. Here's the battle for 4th position. Denny Hamlin in the 11 car. Matt Kenseth using the highlight he's used most of the day, trying to come off that corner with momentum and get by the 11. We saw the 8 car go by the 20 car, and now Tony Stewart trying to reel in the 8 and the 40. Look how strong that 8 car is. Rose right up on the back of the 43 of Bobby Labonte.
11 car working that top side, the same position he won the Busch race with on Saturday. You know that's working for him. And Stewart gets past the 8 car and takes over the 10th position from Dale Earnhardt Jr. And look at that nose up under the back of Stewart. Jr. sticking him down that corner faster than he probably wants to go right now.
That's bump drafting here at Michigan.
3 laps to go, and they're trying to move in on Bobby Labonte Jr. way up on the outside of the racetrack.
It's like he got up a little too high, lost his grip, and almost hit the wall again. He's just going to have to hold on now and bring it back.
Battle for 4th, the left side of your screen. The 17 did get by the 11 car. Kenseth now in 4th spot. Right side of your screen, that's the 8 car. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, all in this battle here with 3 laps to go.
The guy getting beat up on right now is Kyle Busch. He's loose. He just got run into by Greg Biffle. 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go, guys.
Might have caught the wall a little bit with that 5 car. Comes along. Greg Biffle gets into the back of Kyle Busch and loses.
Biffle spins sideways.
Gather back up. Still coming at you. Still coming at you. You're good. Everybody's getting loaded up now. Get her going when you can.
Caution will wave once again here for the 7th time a day, and the man who started on the front row, our in-race reporter, Greg Biffle, spins it out and pulls out the yellow.
You talk about a shootout getting ready to set up right now between Martin Truex and Kurt Busch. This is going to be unreal right here. Truex has got to get the restart of his life, and that last time by, Truex had Kurt Busch outrun by 0.3 of a second, so he knows he's got a faster car. He just can't screw up when they go back to a restart now. And if he doesn't, Martin Truex might win this race.
The damage on the right front of Greg Biffle's car. Now watch the replay. The 5 is high, the 16 down low.
These guys are racing so hard. Looked like the 31 car, Jeff Burton, just got the 16 car Biffle loose, and then he chased the car up into the 5 car, and then just spun around. Just hard racing, though.
Oh, that's just definitely hard racing right there, Randy. He just got right on his rear bumper and got him loose. Let's watch the onboard here and get a different angle of this.
Right on the outside. Get it gathered back up. Still coming at you. Still coming at you. You're good. Everybody's getting warmed up now. Get her going when you can.
Now you could tell at that point the 16 of Greg Biffle was in front of the 31 of Jeff Burton. Burton just got him arrow loose, and the 16 chased it up right into the side of the 5 car of Kyle Busch, and that's what happened.
Right here with Jeff Burton, you can see he's pulling right up on the deck lid of this 16 car. These guys racing real hard for these spots. He just gets him loose, gets Biffle loose, and gets up into the 5.
Keep coming. All clear, 07.
You see this cushion of air off the 31 can pack up. Even though he's a car length behind, that 16 can feel it. He chases it up the track and gets loose. And they really got down into turn 3 deep that time also, way down in a corner, probably deeper than the 16 car Biffle wanted to be.
See the 18 car just barely missing.
Here's J.J. Yaley right along with him. Watch him just get by the 16 as it comes down across the track.
Stay high, go high, clear. Cautious down.
Okay, watch the air pack up. Watch draft tracks now. You see all the yellow air. That dirty, turbulent air is what packed up under the back of the 16 and got him sideways. Perfect way to show you, folks. Been wanting to show you that one for a long time.
NASCAR is going to make one attempt at a green-white checker so they don't finish this race under caution.
That was a rule they put in a couple of years ago to be able to give the fans what they came to see. The 2 car of Kurt Busch. Let's listen into the radio communications.
Fans get their money's worth today.
They're definitely going to get their money's worth on this restart.
Yeah, they are. The guy really focused is the 2 car of Kurt Busch and Martin Truex. Truex knows he's got a faster car right now. With the tires that are on these cars, he's just got a faster car, and he's got one shot.
Martin Truex finished second to Carl Edwards here in June. He has one career Nextel Cup win, and his credit it came at Dover, Delaware early this year in his 58th career start. Will he finish second today? Can he somehow get there to Kurt Busch on this green, white, and checkered restart?
He's got to get away from Jimmy Johnson, who got alongside him earlier.
Green flag waves. Kurt Busch sails away. Here comes Truex. Jimmy Johnson is third, and Matt Kenseth back in fourth.
And Kurt Busch just put it on him on the restart. I mean, Truex didn't get to his bumper like he needed to be. And I don't believe he's going to be able to catch him right now, guys. Now, the 48, though, he's running in the 1 car of Truex just a little bit. But right now, Kurt Busch, it's see you later, dude. I'm out of here.
11 car way up across the top of the racetrack, all the way up near the wall, but the 17 slides right up in front of him. He is reeling in the 17 car that is for the 4th position.
Denny's just got to stay working the top side of the track, guys. That's where he's been the strongest. And see him run up on the bumper of the 17. That's the only chance he's got. He just seems like he can't get it done on the bottom. And as Kurt Busch now is just driving off. Just that time, definitely quicker than Martin Truex that very last lap. So
Kurt Busch, a 28-year-old driver from Las Vegas, Nevada. He broke a 51 race winless streak at Pocono just 3 weeks ago. Kurt Busch comes down in dominating fashion and wins at Michigan. Contact as they came across the line, pushing and shoving, typical Michigan finish. Kurt Busch wins it, and Martin Truex finishes second for the 2nd time at this racetrack this year. The 25 car. Watch the 25 of Mears and Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming to the line. Who got it?
Looks like Casey Mears just nipped him.
Casey just barely got him. Well, guys, at one time during this race, the 2-car Kurt Busch was up to 11th in the points, but now he's back in 12th because Truex finished second. Mike?
And high fives all around for the 2-team, Rusty and Pat Tryson. There had to be some anxious moments there. You had some older tires on that restart. What were you thinking?
Well, the one did too, so we're hoping they were holding up a little bit, and Miller Lite Dodge would hit victory lane, and Kurt did an awesome job on every restart. And can't say enough about this Penske Racing and this Miller Lite Dodge team, and Kurt Busch is obviously an incredible driver, and we're looking forward to the rest of the year.
With the circumstances this weekend, with the lengthy rain delays, how much of a curveball did that throw you guys?
Well, I mean, it was hard to say. We were looking for green flag runs, helped us a lot. We were really good on long runs. Didn't start off very good the first run, but we made some adjustments, and from then on, we were really good all day. Congratulations.
Thanks. Guys, after a 51-race winless streak, this team has now gone to victory lane twice in the last 3 events.
That is a signature burnout for Kurt Busch. He loves to pull the car right up against the wall for the fans to see and then light it up with his Penske Dodge.
Jerry, it's all about momentum. With Pat Tryson leading the 2-car right now, you can tell they got the momentum. They dominated at Pocono. They come close to dominating the day here. They did win the race. Boy, those two are getting along, guys.
Kurt Busch leads 4 times for 92 laps to pick up his second win in 2007. We'll talk to him when we come back. The NASCAR Nextel Cup Series race at Michigan is history. And in dominating fashion, Kurt Busch wins his second time in 3 races after going 51 races without a victory. In the points in the race to the chase, Jeff Gordon already locked in. Denny Hamlin, by virtue of that 5th place finish today, locks himself in to the chase. Matt Kenseth getting closer. You see there now, all the way down in the 13th spot. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has climbed to within 163 points of Kurt Busch in 13th position. Let's go down to victory lane and Jamie Little.
Well, I believe one man who says the wait was worth it, Kurt Busch, and it's taken 4 years, but you are back in victory lane. His wife, Eva, here. Kurt, let's talk about that last restart. How concerned were you knowing you guys were on old tires and stayed out longer than the guys behind you?
It was tough. I got to thank the fans that stuck it out on a Tuesday to see a green-white checker. We put it on for them here at the end. All of the restarts, all of the guys on different strategy. It really was a tough, hard-fought win for the Miller Lite Dodge, but real proud to bring it home. Just, again, thanks to them and thanks to all of our military that protect us overseas. I mean, to live in a free country and to be able to have a couple rain days and then go out and play on a Tuesday, this feels good.
And you win right in your boss's backyard. How important is that for you and this team? And for Roger, I know he's up with the spotters watching down.
Oh, it's just fantastic. I mean, Roger Penske, it's his first win and he's going to be able to enjoy with me here in victory lane. And to do it here for Dodge, this is their country. We love to come into Michigan and race our cars, but it's more important for the auto manufacturers. So it's not win on Sunday, sell on Monday. We're going to sell on Wednesday, hopefully. And it just feels great with Miller Lite and Mobil 1, all of our associate sponsors. This was a great win. Backs up what we did at Pocono. I thought that was a pretty good setup, so it worked again today.
And it was a great follow-up for Kurt Busch, who gets his 3rd victory for Roger Penske. Guys?
And with Martin Truex Jr. on pit road, who got out of his car, flashed a great big smile, last to second. Wow, what a day. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Great day. Just got to thank all the guys in the Bass Pro Chevrolet. They did a good job today. We had a little trouble. We got up to about 8th there, and our last green flag stop, the clutch went out, and couldn't get off pit road, lost a bunch of spots, and that was the best we've been all day as far as the car went. So I was happy with the car, and it was easy decision to stay out there at the end. I had no clutch. I was going to get killed on pit road. So we got some clean air, man, and that thing just went to digging. So had a lot of fun at the end. I could smell the victory, but congratulations to Kurt. He deserved a great win, but great run for us. Real proud of all the guys.
You thought you had a shot at him there quickly at the end. Not quite to be, though. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Martin Truex Jr. going another step closer to clinching his place in the chase. Doc?
Great one here. They roll the dice late as Pat Tryson keeps his car number 2 on the racetrack, and it pays off. Dominating performance by Kurt Busch, leading 92 laps to pick up his 2nd win in 2007. Our NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing in Michigan has been brought to you by Vault. Drinks like a soda, kicks like an energy drink. Vault, get into it. By Crown Royal Blended Canadian Whiskey, it's about quality, not quantity. By Lotrimin Ultra, the one-week killer cure for athlete's foot. And by Sprint, featuring NASCAR Nextel Cup Series updates at Sprint Speed. Celebrations are ongoing in Victory Lane for Kurt Busch. He has had a shower of suds as we check in the garage area with Dave.
Gordon finishing 27th today after a day that looked a lot better but had some odd twist to it. I just saw you working with Jeff Mendering looking at the shark fin back there. What have you guys deduced about all that?
You know, just between vibration and the amount of force, you know, from the air that's there in these high-speed tracks like that. I don't know. We just there are a number of cars that had the problem, so obviously we got to fix that. I don't know if that contributed to us getting loose or not. You know, we were really good. We started off way tight, and we loosened the car, man. That seemed like the track loosened up, and man, we drove to the front. I was having a lot of fun with the DuPont Chevrolet, and then there at the end we stayed out, and I thought the car would tighten up, and man, I was just so loose. So, you know, it was my fault what happened with Matt. You know, he went to the outside, and I was loose. I was sliding up the track, and I saw my mirror. He was there. I was trying to get out of his way, and he just had too much momentum. So that may have just saved us. I don't know. We might have had a tire going down. I'm not sure what was going on.
Better to finish where you did than be in the wall, you're saying?
Well, this is a great race car, and I think we can only make it better for some races coming up. So, yeah, you know, if we can't get up there and win and get those bonus points, then, you know, we don't really care where we finish other than that.
And, Jeff, trying to get out of Matt's way there, could you not cut the car back down because of how loose it was?
I had it turned all the way to the left. I mean, Matt was probably a little impatient with me right there because he got underneath me, and I was just trying to see if my car would tighten up. I was hoping that it would. So he got underneath me, and I ran hard with him on the outside. You know, it's closing laps. And then I drove into that turn that time, and he went to the outside, and I was just loose. And so I knew I was giving up the spot, but, you know, the way it turned out, it looked a lot worse than it was.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Had a shot today as he finishes still the championship leader.
Well, the return of Chad Knaus resulted in another top 3 finish for Jimmy Johnson. How would you describe today?
That wasn't bad. We were competitive. We led some of the race, and then there at the end, I thought we really had the right strategy with 2 tires and first car on tires. But those restarts at the end, these tires really recovered well. Goodyear brought, and the 2 and the 1 in front of me didn't have tires, and it'd take them 3 or 4 or 5 laps before I could start catching them with my new rubber, and it just didn't have enough time. But still a great performance, and you know, the big goal is to really get ourselves locked into this chase, and we're doing the right things for that.
And you've definitely taken a step in that right direction. How comforting was it for you to have that familiar voice in your ear today with Chad Knaus?
We've been here so long, it's felt like it's been 2 race weekends. I could say when the weekend started 6 days ago, it was nice to hear him back on the radio, but you know, with Chad, without, you know, we have a great race team. We're able to put up the great finishes, and it was great having him up on the box today.
And the defending Nextel Cup Series champ, Jimmy Johnson, brings it home 3rd today.
Mike, back-to-back third-place finishes for Jimmy Johnson. Kurt Busch still celebrating. We'll come back to wrap it up in Michigan, and after we're done, we'll have First Take with some NASCAR Now updates inside of First Take. Some more NASCAR to come your way here this afternoon. Back in just a moment. All right, ready to hit the next Our NASCAR Nextel Cup action in Michigan has been brought to you by Vault. Drinks like a soda, kicks like an energy drink. Vault, get into it. By Crown Royal Blended Canadian Whiskey, it's about quality, not quantity. By Lotrimin Ultra, the one-week killer cure for athlete's foot. And by Sprint, featuring NASCAR Nextel Cup Series updates at Sprint Speed. Let's go down to Dave.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming just out of the top 10 today at home to finish here at Michigan International Speedway in the 12th position. Junior, your day kind of up and down, had a fast car at times.
Yeah, the car was struggling in the corners real fast down a straightaway. I think I had 20 more horsepower than anybody here. But, you know, great pit stops. I made a big mistake on pit road there near the end of the race. Cost us probably about 5 spots. And, but we ran good, you know, came from the back. That was fun, passing cars, racing with everybody.
All right, Dale Earnhardt Jr., another good finish today, just out of the top 10 at Michigan.
Well, Denny Hamlin said recently, anything less than a win just doesn't matter. But a top 5 finish, still something to be proud of. How would you assess the day?
We had a great day. This is by far the most competitive we've ever been here at Michigan, and our team just keeps getting stronger. You know, if we can knock down these top 5 finishes every week, like we had these last 3 weeks in the chase, then we're going to be pretty tough. But you know, even though those guys are getting a few bonus points on us, you know, if you can continually be as competitive as we are, then you're going to be a championship contender. So the whole FedEx Kinko's team did a great job on pit road, especially. Mike did a great job with the call at the end, and our car was pretty good, so I'm pretty excited.
And with your top 5 today, you pretty much locked up a spot in the chase. How much freedom does that give you in the remainder of the regular season?
Well, it definitely gives us the freedom to do just about anything we want, but you know, we might take a race car to the racetrack we wouldn't normally, or I might push it a little bit harder than what I might not. So who knows what happens. You know, if we have an opportunity at the end of a race to maybe steal one, then we're definitely going to try it.
Well, you heard him, guys. He might push it a little bit harder, and going to places like Bristol and Richmond, that can be pretty exciting.
Guys, final comments on what we saw today. We waited for it, and it was a good one.
I tell you what, you look at this 2 car, they're not only just a favorite to be in the chase, they might be a favorite for the championship.
That was a great race today. Kurt Busch is back, and just in time for Bristol. That's his favorite track. But Jerry, we got here Thursday, now it's Tuesday, baby. Let's go home, man.
We had to wait for 2 whole days to get it in, but it was worth waiting for. Great NASCAR action at Michigan. Coming up next, First Take with some cut-ins from NASCAR Now. Congratulations to our winner, Kurt Busch. Join us next week. We go to Friday and Saturday night at Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. So long, everyone, from Michigan.